Good evening, everybody. How is everyone today on the rare and elusive? This probably won't be the last one, assuming I'm still doing this by the time the next set comes out. Shadowverse Tuesday. How you doing, Cadence? Sorry, my model's tweaking out a bit. So, that. I just need to be. Oh, I'm looking around. Expressive. Anyway, yeah, I've been doing a bit of model tweaking, trying to get the so that I have access to my full range of expressions. I am doing pretty good. Feeling a lot better. Feeling a lot better today. And as I'd had a bit of, I've been messing about with the new cards already, and about having. But it's a weird set, this one. It's a really, really weird set. So I'm really not sure what to make of it. But I've got some good fun ideas, and I'll probably do a bit of experimental deck building early on, because I've got some stuff I'm happy with already. Hey, Daku, good to see you. How you doing? But yeah, weird set today. But other than that, been doing all right. Just getting stuff sorted, getting stuff tidied up. Yeah, there's like the new cards are weird. It's really like both the new cards and kind of like the rotated out has kind of like shaken things up a lot. So I'll obviously go through it a bit much. But there's some weird new additions and some weird like lack of replacements that have made some really weird gaps that I'm not entirely sure how are being filled. So don't know if we'll end up with just like a case of older more stable decks being the norm, but there's definitely room for some creativity if it's there to be found, I think. But I am not good enough to find it on my own. Might find it experimentally today, who knows? But, yeah, other than that, not much. Yeah, there's a lot of inconsistent decks and kind of the base stuff of, like, what's very immediately obvious. So I think there's a lot of, experimenting to find, like, how to make them work, so really is the main thing. Is like taking, okay, so the decks on the obvious building is very inconsistent, but the actual is entirely, but then a lot of decks that eventually became meta later started inconsistent, especially on day one, and then they get refined. And then maybe some just won't really make it until the mini expansion. We'll have to see. I think there's a few new archetypes that are pretty solid, working pretty well. As well as just some older stuff that maybe wasn't doing so great last few sets that's kind of risen up a bit. I said talk more about that when we actually get to the game, so I can like look at cards directly. Right now we're still in chatting room. Just give it time for people to filter in and all the stuff. But yeah, other than that, I've been doing a lot of. So actually, I haven't been doing much, but I've been doing a lot of relaxing and yeah, Artifact. I've been playing a lot of Artifact Portal today, and it's definitely seemed to have gotten a really big boost. With them, mainly the new legendary girl, because it's just really easy way to get your artifact count up really quickly, and you can actually make some pretty scary boards with her end of turn effect as well. Yeah, let's have a proper look at that in just a moment. Just given, doing my customary waiting until like 22 usually, and then we actually boot up Shadowverse would be a good idea. To have it ready. But yeah, definitely got some. That's like the most obvious initial powerful deck, I think, is Artifact Portal. So don't know if it's broken, but it definitely seems a lot scarier than it was before. And it's definitely quite, and because it's only it's a fair, everyone knows how to play Artifact Portal at this point. So, a bit of hiccups. Like, because it's a deck that people know how to play, because it's like didn't lose really that much in rotation, and it's only really gained some cards. It's I'm just gonna move might be a bit weird. I'm just gonna move the camera a bit, because that should hopefully, and there's more face on, that'll give me some better tracking. Yeah, that's a bit better. But yes. But other than that, I'm playing a lot of Gundam Evolution mainly. So I might stream that. It's like it depends entirely on how I'm feeling, but I think that's a game I could probably stream and enjoy. I know next to nothing about Gundam. Like, I've watched the prologue of Witch of Mercury, which is pretty good. But other than that, I've never actually watched a Gundam apart from like occasionally catching episodes of Gundam Seed back when that was on Cartoon Network or Toonami or whatever. So yeah, that's my main exposure to Gundam. Like, I've always liked mecha aesthetically. Yeah, it's nice and free and just a little bit jank, and like it has the same fun problem that Apex Legends had at the start, where you don't feel like you have to spend money because all the skins, even the fancy premium ones, the super rare ones, all the skins are just crap. So at most you'll like spend money to unlock some of the suits a bit earlier, but otherwise that's really no reason to buy any of the cosmetic stuff. It's all terrible. Like, they might put better cosmetic stuff later, and I think they'll probably do like voice actor packs. If you can't actually change the voice actors on your end, then that's a bit of an iffy, because I know a lot of people would rather have the Japanese voices. Because the dub voices don't have a story to history, really. But yes, anyway, so yeah, I think it's about time to swap over. You don't need 5 different basic recolors of a Zaku. Like, maybe the red one, so you can pretend you're Char Aznable, but otherwise you don't need all the skins. They're just recolors. You can't even like I feel like in fitting with like a Gunpla theme, they should let you custom colors properly rather than it just being like a set selection of skins. But they would know how to steal your money. It's how it's worked in all these games. But yes, let's swap over to the game screen, and hopefully I just move that over there, and hopefully the capture will be working by now. Nah, give it a second. What? There, okay. And instead we've got our what's-his-face armed dragon agonist card man. So yeah, the last I was trying out just Rally Sword, which is like, it's lost a few things, so this is a bit more just replacing them with a bit more of an aggressive shell. You're popping in, you haven't got Erica, so you have to kind of, Claymore Soldier, which I've got, of course, got the, yeah, but you could sell, like, color palettes, is the thing, Caden. Like, they do that in Warframe. You, like, buy color palettes, and then you can use those palettes to recolor your stuff as you fit. That's really good, actually. But, yeah, so Well, I think a lot of people, especially that's playing Evo heavy shells, is using Claymore Master, which I have the also I've got the Uma Musume. Fun fact: the Uma Musume's Pixiv and Fanbox staff has just been deleting all artworks because Japanese Hawks accuser literally is a thing that exists, and they don't like you drawing risque art of the character of the horses represented in Uma Musume, which is kind of funny, but also a bit of a bummer. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna go like whiz through all like the cards I didn't talk through before and how they put things into a bit more context. So we just go into Dragonblade. And if we just do, because we looked at all the gold and legendaries, we usually look at bronze and silvers. Just do it by class. Yes, so we'll start with the neutrals. Nothing particular. It's surprising though, in the neutrals, just a lot of weird little cards. Like this is a nice little flexible 2/2 ward. Probably, as I said, a lot of neutral silvers and bronze are usually like take 2 fodder. Don't have any missing. It's like this can be pretty handy in certain setups. I haven't seen it. It's also just very nice art. Very nice. I do maybe a bit cultural appropriation, but I'm not clever enough to judge that. Skewering Stare is funny because this is literally a classic card from the first set, just reduced, having it just has its cost reduced by 2. Because this is literally Dance of Death. If we just go and do basics. Basics. 5 cost cards. Oh, wait, no, this is not basics, classic. Where is Dance of Death? Was it classic or was it darkness? Oh, it was Eternal Darkness. But yeah, this was like your prime back in the day, back in the old days. This was like your prime go-to removal. But obviously 5 cost destroy an enemy follower it's just not good enough anymore. So now I've screwed up all the filters. So now we've got 3 cost, destroy a follower, deal 2 damage to an enemy leader. So it might actually, and it's like the fun thing is, of course, that's slightly questionable as to whether that's even playable. But it probably is. Like if you have an aggressive deck and you find like, okay, I need some hard removal, that's probably pretty good. So Rhino Man's just kind of cool. It's just a farmer. It's a farming rhino who you can't punch apparently. Can't punch the Rhino Man. Guess he's supposed to be too scary. It's his voice line. Rhino noises. Unsurprising. There's my boy Uranus. This is a card. Like, I didn't really think about it early, but having played some of the meta, I think you'll probably be seeing a lot of this guy. Because, especially if Shadowcraft stays popular. But also just general, there's a lot of targets he hits. You're not really caring so much about, like the, like most cards that decks that can draw a decent amount of cards can quite happily get to 20 cards or less by the later turns. And early turns is just a nice early tempo play that kind of like hoses out anything last words based or reanimate based. So yeah, definitely I think you'll probably see him play, especially in a lot of like more control-y, slower paced decks that can quite happily get his effect. And as I mentioned before, the 5 cards or less effect is mostly just there to punish Bahamut, Ultimate Bahamut, more than anything else. I did see Ziff put out a video with a very silly deck where you use Jerry to thin your deck down as slow as possible, and then you try and get 2 Uranuses and any form of 2 damage off to OTK the opponent, but it's obviously very hard to pull off because you need to be able to trade both of those Uranuses in to get the leader damage, and they remove something on fanfare, so your opponent has to have something like either big enough or a wide enough board for him to actually have stuff to hit to trigger the effects. Yeah, so nothing too exciting that came out in neutral. Dungeon Pathfinder is kind of like angelic, the Angel's Grace, but on legs. But I think that makes him a bit worse because Angel's Grace obviously only costs 1 while he costs 3. So I don't know if you'll see a lot of him. Garrel, after of course now seeing all the cards, I don't know if there's really much place for him. We'll see. We'll see where if little cute lion gets a spot in anything other than, like, I've seen him being used in I saw a handless blood deck that used him, which makes a bit of sense. Like, worst case, he's just he's another 1-cost follower. He's essentially a goblin. And best case, you get to empty your hand a bit more because you've got some other like 2-cost followers, like you could have Tellurian Painter or the Angel, or something else you don't really mind getting destroyed by the effect, like something with a fanfare of some kind that's useful to you. It has to be neutral, and I don't use little things. So yeah, Forest Craft, I don't have either of the legendaries, but we're not particularly looking at them. Bunch of weird cards in Forest Craft. Against Forest Craft's like selection is weird. I don't like Treasure Map as a card. It's one of those cards that's just kind of very RNG, because sometimes you get like one of these effects that actually ends up being able to turn the game in your favor. Like getting off Arthurian Light in Forest Craft, actually pretty spicy, but probably not consistent enough, and like it's remedied by the fact it's got this evolve effect. So if your treasure map so you probably play the treasure map, see what you get, and if your treasure map is junk, and if it's just junk or something that's not useful at all, you can evo to discard it. And then just more fairy generation and an end game like storm option. You like play that on, if you have like a 0-cost spell in hand, you can play that on 8 and then play the 0-cost spell, which you can quite happily have with that makes a good follow. Yeah, so it makes a good follow-up turn to like Carbuncle, because you'll definitely have a 0-cost spell of some kind in your hand after that. And then you can play this and and then evolve both the Deepwood Wolves from the oh no, you need to accelerate. Yeah, that's less useful. So yeah, that doesn't work with so that won't work with with Carbuncle, because it doesn't affect accelerator enhancers. Whereas Merchant, a basic board buff card, already looked at that. Rose Deer is a bit weird, because you can only it's like, I think it would be so much better if the accelerate clause, if it didn't have this accelerate clause, because you have to have bounced a card this turn to accelerate it. But it might still see play, might still be useful. Like in worst case scenario, like the obvious case scenario is like you tutor the Roach spell with this, but then the Roach spell tutors itself, so it's not entirely sure if you really need this. It does also have a fanfare for getting a 1 play point follower and then a spell on Evo, so it's good to actually play as the body as well. But as I said, I have no idea what Forestcraft is doing this set, so and then they just have this fanfare board clear, which is fine. Yeah, like, I get, yeah, it's possible that just having it as an accelerate tutor was too strong. So there might have been something in playtesting. And this guy is just fanfare board clear, which is fine. Probably only really going to see play in Take 2. I don't think you really need it. Yeah, there's nothing else here that was already seen. Floral Breeze. Yeah, so nothing. So yeah, Forestcraft, obviously lots of weird things, lots of things I don't like. Cosmos Fang is a weird card, and Nobilis is a bit of a weird card. A bit more straightforward, but she's still a bit weird. So we'll have to see if Forest gets anything, really, is the question. It might just stick to... It might not use any of these cards, but then... We'll see, like, Forest Merged, maybe, because it's got card draw on it. And maybe the Flying Mistletoe Squirrel. And maybe a lot of these things, but I don't think nothing strikes me as being like, oh, this is going to change the game unless someone really thinks about how to make Cosmos Fang work. Which I don't think it will, like Cosmos Fang or Nobilis work. I don't think it will. I think this is just too weird and clunky, but who knows? Who knows? It might. Cosmos Fang might just see play as like a control card. You just you don't really build a deck around it. You just put it in because it bounces the entire board. It bounces the entire board, including your opponent's stuff, which can be quite powerful against certain decks. So you might run one or two in like a control-y forest deck, but then Control Forest doesn't have its mage source of healing anymore. So not great, not great. But I think that's enough looking at Forest. And now we're looking at Swordcraft. Been playing a few Swordcraft games. Instead of got... It was like, I think the biggest new card is probably this girl, Spell Scourger. Because it's just such... Like, this is possibly like slightly making up for the lack of Erica. Because it's just some really cheap burn. You just need to clear your opponent's board and then you play... As long as you can clear your opponent's board, you can just play a bunch of these and it's either 4 damage for 2... It's usually either 4 damage for 2 play points or 6 damage for 2 play points. Which is a lot, especially if you've like shooted up a bunch with... since it can be hit by Royal Orders or whatever it is, the 1 play point put 2... playpoint followers in your hand. If you have rally, if you put a playpoint follower in your hand, if you have rally, put 2. If you have rally 10, you put 2 and reduce their cost by 1, so that can do some real damage. The hero package, I'm not entirely sold on. Like, you can do a lot of damage if you've got the stuff like Flame Soldier if you've got the damaged ally followers in play, you can do some damage, and like there's a few ways to get that, either just by bumping something, but they also printed this, which this girl damages herself, and is just basically a one rush that actually has a small AoE on rally 10, so. Might see play just in like a normal decks as well, but that's your supposed to be like a cheap way to activate your damaged followers effects from the hero cards. Not entirely the thing is, if I see a hero deck, I don't see a place for Valiant Fencer in it, because all the other hero cards are incredibly aggressive. Like, Amuro has Storm, Mac Knight has Storm, Flame Soldier deals face damage, and Valiant Fencer helps with almost none of that. It's a tanky hero, is about it. And I'm not entirely sure, and the Evo effect doesn't increase your damage at all. And like, the rush effect basically only affects 1 card. It only, like, it affects Valiant Fencer himself and Flame Soldier, because Mac Knight has Storm and Amuro usually has Storm. So yeah, I don't see a place, like, even if you're running a deck built around heroes, I don't see why you'd put Valiant Fencer in. Like, I might be wrong, but he just seems way too defensive for what is a very offensive archetype. Like, Suave Bandit is just another Itching Gold support. Splendid Knight is a kind of neat card, just more just that kind of strategist discard, draw cards. It's like you just get to cycle a card back into your deck and then draw another card. It is putting a copy back into your deck, so you're not losing the card. You're just like saying, I don't need this card right now. It's just tucking it. And she gets a little bonus if it's a commander, which is useful because commanders are usually expensive. It's probably not great, probably very good in Take 2, I'd imagine. Especially like this guy's probably very good in Take 2, but probably not great in, he's just like a big, he just summons a big board. Big board of cards. But like, better sick, like, I don't see, you wouldn't really want to play him over like, monochrome endgame. But yeah, nothing. Again, Runecraft. Weird. Another weird archetype. So I haven't crafted anything. Actually, one of the reasons I do want to give Chess Runecraft a try. I haven't seen it. Invoke for Sword. Oh, the new Royal Fortress. Yeah, maybe Commander Sword could work. It's like calculated captain is a commander. Splendid Knight is also a commander. Yeah, that'd be very good in oh yeah, I think that is very much a Commander Sword card because you can put your you put the fortress back in your deck. That's always. I didn't realize she was a commander as well. That makes a huge difference, yeah. So yeah, if you're running Commander Sword, you're running this card basically. It looks cool. Some kind of very anime-ass EVE opening, but I like her base art a lot. But yeah, good pointing that out. I wasn't thinking of Commander Sword. Yeah, now we've got the Runecraft cards, which are all a bit weird. As I said, they've got the chess motif, so they got some more chess cards that do the basic thing. They just get you more pawns in play. So it's all about having a big wide board, summoning lots of rush things. No bishops. Bishops is missing. Bishop might be like the gold in the mini expansion, is what I'd gather. It's the only piece we're missing, so that would make sense. And then yeah, so you've got your one of your payoffs for magical pawns. You've got another card to summon magical pawns. This card is basically pretty much the only target worth. I guess it can hit neutral, so there's probably some options there. We'll have to have a look at possibly good 1-cost neutrals to copy, but a bit weird. Not entirely sure worth playing in a lot of like normal Runecraft decks, but you'd play it in Chess Sword because you could just copy a pawn. Really hiccupy on stream these days. There's this card, which is a nice little random hit on spell boost, and quite easily only on spell boost 5 hits 2 followers, which is quite nice. Card Slinger, which is just a handy little spell boost card. Spell boost 3 from 1 card is pretty good, and Evo tutors a spell, which is always nice at spell boost. And lots of spell boost cards, but not a lot of But as I said, not entirely sure spell boost will survive because, of course, Isabel rotated out and neither like spell boost archetypes, which is either Kuon or Mysteria, really have the kill power. But maybe not that many decks do these days. But Artifact has kill power, so I don't see how. So spell boost is still kind of missing that last oomph because they really didn't print any more damage. Like, I suppose you could do something with Mirrored Summoning, maybe? Mirrored Summoning in Mysteria might do something, not entirely sure. But that's a neat card that might be abusable in some some circumstances. Oh yeah, Chrono Witch is a card. Keep forgetting about that. That hasn't seen play. Forgot that was still around. So maybe, yeah, maybe it'll bring back Chrono Witch. You just make a really big board. Back in, like, those days. But, yeah, so yeah, interesting. Well, I do want to give Chess Rune does seem kind of neat, but it depends on what you actually put alongside it. The starter deck has a small spell boost package, partially because they want to give you the new cards, so they give you the Mari and the Card Slinger and the Aquiosphere. And like that's just a little. I don't think they give you Card Slinger actually. They do give you like Aquiosphere and Mari. That's just like a neat little package to help you to give you some bit more options, but not. And it gives you one Meltinia, who's just basically mostly like Evo point. Does a fair few things as card draw, Evo point, recovery, spell boost. So she's still pretty useful. Instead, you can either have her as Evo point recovery or recursion, which is nice. Or just keep recurring her, which is nice. Anyway, next is Dragoncraft. So Dragoncraft you can see by all the temporary cards. I picked up the temp deck for, mostly because to get I thought of all the decks, at least this one's got the guaranteed card that will be in a lot of decks, which is Captain Dragewood, because it's ramp, and it's a good versatile card. I've tried to make I've been trying to make the armed package work, but it just seems a bit weird and inconsistent, and I think just going for pure storm, like I'll show you later, one of my decks that I've been doing okay with is just a storm ramp deck. Which is just, storm. This is probably one of the better cards, new cards in set. First of all, love this art. Weird. This is a bit weird. I only just noticed the lizard's weird face tongue thing, but I guess that's kind of like a python, I guess. But weird lizard python face. But the girl is very cute. And yeah, just a very versatile. Gives you more damage the more stuff you have. So like it's still only like 6 damage per hit, but that's also 6 damage and 3 hit across the board. And if you're playing like a bunch of storm, because you've also got a Drage, you also put Dragewood in the deck. Don't put Hammer Dragonute. Do put Orc Worm in, because even if you're not like building around the discard package, you can put the discard package in just as a pretty good card draw package, I've found. Or at least I've seen from other people. I haven't given it a try yet. But Orc Worm is just a nice, it's just this Accelerate is a very standard effect. It's been in Dragoncraft a lot. And it's just the latest iteration of Draconic Council, I think, was the original one. I think there might be older ones. And like the actual body is not particularly relevant, but can sometimes kill, so that's nice. The thing, but yeah, the actual art, like they got, like there is a lot of like storm damage from the armed stuff, but it is mostly just the Lance Lizard and Hammer Dragonute. Which doesn't lend itself well. I might give a bit more of an adjustment, but Levitating Dragon doesn't seem to do a whole lot. Because it's hard to play it along, but if you can play it alongside stuff. It is also weird because you want to play your Hammer Dragonutes early because they're just really good early game cards, but you also want to hold them because they're your only armed followers with Storm. So it is a bit weird, it is a bit awkward. Well, I guess you can make other cards armed through Levitating Dragon, but you don't have that many options for cheap storms, which is really what you want. You want cheap storm followers to play alongside this. I guess Maybe Brutal Dragon Newt's good to have in that kind of deck. It's like you make it armed, you play an amulet, play Brutal Dragon Newt, then you play Leviathan Dragon. But then you've used your Evo on Leviathan Dragon, which you could have just used on Brutal Dragon Newt and had the same kind of effect, so it's kind of, yeah, a lot of the legendaries do feel a bit baity. Like as I said before, the hero legendary is a bit baity. And Leviathan Dragon just seems a bit awkward. Yeah, not entirely sold on the arm package. Like maybe having a couple of them, like maybe having Draconair because it's very efficient. It's just a neat, neat set of followers, and the armed amulets are pretty good for getting other benefits, mainly for Forte. So like either you have just Draconair or just the Hammer Dragon Newt, something like that. And then you build a more Storm deck. Like Dragewood's great though. Dragewood absolutely like can be quite on turn 10. That's, you know, on turn 10 with an Evo, that's 10 damage face for 5 play points. But yeah, I think Dragon's probably going to be very burn oriented this set. Mermaid Songstress exists, I guess. Draconic Armor is very good in Armed Dragon, but not, as I said, Armed Dragon decks just don't seem to be kidding off. More discard synergy. Yeah, and all that good stuff. I think that's all the cards. Shuffling quickly onto Shadowcraft. Shadowcraft got a lot, again, Shadowcraft, lots of good cards. Very thing. So I've been trying out a Masquerade Ghost deck, which has been feeling reasonably decent. Like there's a lot of, I haven't really refined it that much. I just kind of like put in all the put in a bunch of cards that summon ghosts, and just kind of, hello Evelyn, lovely to see you. We just go in quickly through all the cards. Ah, sorry, I can't do anything about the ads. That is out of my control. Okay, good. Okay, hello Evelyn, lovely to see you. But yeah, we've just been going through quickly with it, zooming through the like bronze and silvers that I didn't see when I was looking at the cards revealed on Sunday. Yeah, puppets might still be good. I looked on Shadowverse Wins earlier and did see a puppet deck that done pretty well. It was pretty much as I'd expected. They did get some quite good silvers and bronzes. But yeah, lots of cards that just like acquire ghosts, and you have Masquerade Ghost on the field so that the ghosts have +1/+0, and then you get big ghosts. Card by card review. Are we just going through each card individually? Because I like, that sounds like probably a more in-depth way of doing it, but I like to do things faster because I want to go and play the game. Nothing particularly. I'm not a professional Shadowverse streamer, I just like streaming Shadowverse. But it's just how I do things. I don't really watch other card game streams. Oh yeah, just yeah, I like to try and explain like cards in the decks as I play them. I don't like just showing replays off. That is definitely a thing I do kind of notice a bit with Shadowverse, like YouTubers and streamers, is they don't tend to explain individual cards or deck construction that much. Yeah, I don't, as I said, I do a lot of my Shadowverse playing basically on gut feeling, so I don't actually watch a lot of like other videos. It's like I watch the occasional Ziff video, just seeing where the meta's at more than anything, rather than looking for like actual decks. I just look through JCG and try and piece together what things are in my own head, which does lead to me not knowing how the hell to pilot some decks, but yeah. I see. As Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, cards are a lot more complicated. Lack of better words. You have to, like, somewhat... I mean, some cards in Shadowverse obviously have a lot of text, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is designed for table playing, so you kind of have to know exactly what a card does, while Shadowverse, a card that has a lot of text, if you kind of, like, have the general idea of what it does, it'll do it automatically, because that's how a digital card game works. It just does everything automatically. I guess Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to a digital. I see. But yeah, nothing exciting about that card. That's just a Last Words heal card, which is fine. It's a neat little card. It's basically card draw for Last Words decks, and lots of Last Words support, but I don't know. I said I haven't seen Last Words decks floating around, but they might be a thing. Yeah, this is another. I've just been playing Masquerade Ghost and having reasonable success. Like, it doesn't have like immediate kill power. You just threaten with constantly wide boards of like just four wards mainly. Yeah, I get you, Evelyn. Like, I kind of... Like, obviously I'm just, like, casual streaming, so I'm just, like, vaguely explaining things as I go. I'm not, like, here to do, like, in-depth explanations. And like this guy seems to have been so I'm trying to flip between responding to chat and going back to my previous train of thought. So like this guy's a fairly I think I've put a copy of I think that's just the kind of attitude you get when you're playing a game like these kinds of games, because by comparison, like the actual play-by-play of Shadowverse is a lot simpler than like the play-by-play of Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a lot less going on in a single turn. Like, I've seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Turns, I've seen what happens in those. There's like absolute nonsense, so it's very important that you're kind of clear on what's going on. Whereas like if you, like me, if you play a lot of Shadowverse, you're kind of so used to the intuitive, for lack of a better word, of everything just being done automatically that you kind of don't think there's the need to explain things. Which is potentially not great. It's like not great for like introducing people. I think there's definitely some people who should definitely use that kind of thing. Like, but yeah, there's nothing. But yes, because like here's, like just doing an example one. So we've got Masquerade Ghost here, who's a 5/5/3/3, which is a order and discipline. You're too lazy, too casual, just casual, fucking lazy, laid-back Shadowverse players. But yeah, so like, given that idea, so like a Masquerade Ghost deck built around this guy is basically is built all around his two lines here, where it's like whenever a ghost comes into play, give it +1/+0, and whenever an ally ghost is banished, which a ghost does whenever it leaves which ghosts always do, unless you've got some really weird effect or it gets bounced or whatever. You summon a gargantuan ghost, which is importantly not counted as a regular ghost. Otherwise, you just have As I said, I do not watch a lot of other Shadowverse YouTubers. I just play the game a lot. I don't usually watch like YouTube or streams of games I play a lot myself, because I find myself kind of like, oh no, maybe I should backseat. I've kind of gotten better at that now that I'm watching a lot of like other smaller streamers that I just have a conversation with. But yeah, I get your frustration, Evelyn. I get your frustration. But yes. Yeah, so this deck, and obviously it can be quite sticky. This is one of the, if this deck becomes so I think yeah, I get where you're coming from, Evelyn. I get where you're coming from, but just chill. Calm stream. We understand your frustration. You understand. Sorry. Yeah, like, I actually think that, if Masquerade Ghost, even, like, if it's not, like, top tier, it's still probably, it's a really good, like, budget deck, because this is the only legendary you really need in the deck. Like, you can augment it with, like, other, like, I'll show you, well, once I've done this, I'll show you my deck list, but it's, yeah, because I'll tell you what, yeah, because once I'm done this, I kind of go through the kind of like deck I made for Masquerade Ghost and kind of explain things card by card there. I'll give that a try, because that's just a good way for me to talk a lot and get that stream time in. But yeah, Hydra Decay is, like, just going back to like going through the cards on their own before we go into like deck building and stuff. Hydra Decay is pretty interesting. As just like a reanimate target, though I don't think there's particularly great reanimate 6 options. And like if you just have a lot of shadows, it just keeps coming back. Because like it doesn't lose these last words, and every time it's summoned with an effect, you can attack twice. So like if you can get it to stick around a turn, that's like really, that can be quite spicy. Like if it's still around, if you have one on your turn and it's got the attack twice effect, that's of course 12 damage base, 16 damage if you evo it, and then even more damage if you have anything else. You probably won't be pairing it with the Death Tyrant spell, because it'll eat all your shadows with this Necromancy 6. But also your opponent might be able to banish it, especially that late in the game. There'll be like Jupiters, there'll be Uranuses around. This is a neat gimmick card, I think. Not going to be anything particularly special, but might be good. Of course, the main thing that like Shadowcraft's actually lacking, that they lost from last set, is of course cheap. Is of course any kind of replacement for Luna. There's no like, this is the only like big necromancy cost in the entire set. The only other necromancy cost is from Trick Dullahan, which is Necromancy 1, which of course isn't a lot, but is a very good effect. It is, you do tutor a card and you get a ghost, which of course is very good for this deck. But yeah, so I have seen some people, I did see a couple of people playing the old Evo Shadow today, which just running it without Luna. I don't know what they replaced it with. I didn't really see any new cards in it. But yeah, that's yeah, I can see Shingetsu working. Shingetsu. It was Paradise, wasn't it? No. Shingetsu Storms? I'm confused. Or just... You mean Ginsetsu? Who is Shingetsu? You mean Yeah, I can see that being working all right, but still, it's not as I can see Kinsetsu working out, but if you, yeah, Kinsetsu, yeah, I can see that working all right because that's a pretty good that's a pretty big necromancy. Okay, see you in a bit, Valen. Yeah. I can see that working a bit as a replacement, because that's... Like, you don't get the free Evo, but you do get a huge necromancy spend, a lot of shadows refunded from that necromancy spend, because you're summoning 4... I guess you're effectively... It's effectively necromancy... It's effectively Necromancy 7 if you do the cost analysis comparison, but it's also, you know, like, still counting as 9. So I can see it being a thing. But it's definitely nowhere near as good as a Luna was. Because one of the big points of Luna is she was cheap, and Evo point recovery was very important in that deck. And not having Evo point recovery does hurt it a lot. Especially if you end up going first. You only have the 2 Evo points available. Yeah, I can see it still being... I can see Evo Shadow still being around. And as I don't know if Ghost Shadow is better than it, but Ghost Shadow is, as I'll show, can be made on a really low budget, because you can't just have this guy as your only legendary. You can make it better with other legendaries as well. Blood's in a bit of a weird spot. Because I didn't get any legendaries. This is basically a take-2 card, I think. I don't think you really... It's a bit of a clunky Vengeance activator compared to your other options. And Dragonblade just doesn't really do a whole lot. And then it's on your board for the whole turn. So, that's more of a take-2 card. It's like, well, because it's a common way of... It's, importantly, a way to activate Vengeance that's a common, which isn't really in, wasn't really in Bloodcraft, because the other options were either either golds or a legendary, which is not great for limited formats. Yeah, other than that, you've got some more of the Breath synergy. Again, all very Evo-centric, all with instruments and whatnot. This weird card, it's another similar card to, like, Paranoia Devil. That, might be good, might be bad, don't know. Not entirely sure about this one. Obviously, if you're ahead on Evo points, example, because all your Evos are free because of Wrath, then can be quite actually easy to have that crystallize down, but still, crystallize 3 is still pretty high. But even on the main body, it can still be pretty good, because that's still 3 damage to all enemies, so that includes the opponent's face. Ferocious Harpy is just kind of like an okay Vengeance payoff, just gets you some card draw, so if you're running a deck that has Vengeance activators, like either from take-2 because you've got Dragonblade Fiend, or you're running Waltz, or the other guy who gives you Vengeance when discarded, that's all good. And everything else. And Fashionable Fiend, which is, again, probably more in a... mostly that's to replace Night Screech more than anything, but can be used but also just in a Wrath deck, because... Again, pings your face, makes a bat, and then if you do end up playing it for 7, that's 3 Evos counted towards any kind of Evo goals you have, but honestly by turn 7 you've probably reached any targets for that, so... Because you're probably at least at 5, and you're probably at 6 or 7 for, it's like 6 for, invoking, what's-his-face, Bloodlust Demon? So, yeah, not entirely sure. Haven't seen any Wrath decks on ladder. All the Bloodcraft decks I've seen today have been handless, which is they don't really use any of these cards. Like, they might use Fashionable Fiend, but I think they've got better one. play point drops. I've only seen the only new cards I've seen out of them was the Garel. Nothing else in here really goes into a handless deck. Then Haven, another weird one. I've seen a lot of people trying to play Haven and they've been doing some very weird and different takes on it. It's like, this is the card that obviously I was thinking, yeah, they need to have other effects that give Storm and Ward, and it's also specifically to something with 2 attack or less. And it's also just a fairly efficient card in general. Like, it cycles if you've got an amulet in play, which you probably will, regardless of what kind of deck you're playing. And then it's also got another card draw effect if you're running a crystallized deck. And you've got other things on the board, which is pretty good, which you probably will be, especially if you're evolving this. Yes, Holy Armored Cheater is a card that exists. I guess if you need more two attack or less followers to give Storm, it might be worth putting in a crystallized deck, but I'm not entirely sure why you wouldn't. Like, Hallowed Dogma is a basic card. You can just put Hallowed Dogma in your deck, and it's slightly more efficient. Like, it doesn't cost reduce the Hallowed Dogma, so. Grace of Taurus is probably... Like, this is probably alright. Like, Taurus the Great is a Storm follower, so it can be quite useful. He's got the basically first strike on him for Magic the Gathering players. But only on strike. Sorry, it's only when he's attacking, it's not on clash. He's also got Storm, but like, again, 5 allied amulets in a crystallized deck, pretty easy to reach from what I've seen. Especially if you have a Skullfane in hand early. And so yeah, that can be... Yeah, I think it's a lot of... It does seem to rely too heavily on having Skullfane in your opening hand, basically, and you need to have it. It's not like a card you can like get later, you kind of need to have it early so you can accelerate your amulets a lot. Like, there's other amulet acceleration you can put in the deck, but Skullfane is the best one because you can do it multiple times from the one card. We've got Mace Jester, who's, again, just a nice, another solid crystallized card for the set. You get 2 of them. I've seen a few Wardhaven decks play this, which makes a lot, which I guess makes sense. You're kind of putting the some of the crystallized cards into Wardhaven because they also have synergize well with like Ward and the like. And again, this Emerald Maiden, who 90% of the time is Sacred Plea. It's Sacred Plea again, because the other one rotated out, but this one only costs 1. There's only on 1 on the Crystallize instead of 2, but it doesn't heal you. Like, actual playing this is just okay. The Adamantine Bird doesn't have Storm, so it doesn't really synergize with... So you don't get that synergy with the Dual Shrine deck. But like, if you somehow have, and it's a ward itself, so it's not even protected. But like in a ward deck, that's fine. That's a fine body. Or just put Bejeweled Shrine into Wardhaven, because you've got, and just have a bunch of Storm wards. Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. Because yeah, you've got Sapphire Priestess to give affords. You can put Diamond Master in to also gain ward, and also give Storm and ward to other things. You got Mayor's Jester, which is two wards with Storm. So those get both, and if you got the Bejeweled Shrine and Bay, that both gets boosted. So I can see how that works. And then we've got Mayor's Chef, who's, I realize now has really long hair, so though this comparison doesn't matter, but it just makes me think of Clauvio, if anyone watches her. She's a Dormouse VTuber who streams at really weird hours for her American audience, because she's great. She's a great chill time to watch. listen to. And like, I know she's got like kind of grey hair rather than blue hair, but this, I saw this and it's just like, I've got into that kind of VTuber brain rot where you just see some like any kind of like anime girl that's vaguely similar and you go, oh look, it's the person that I've watched before. They said my name in chat. I pointed at the screen there, which obviously you can't see, but I hope you got the intention. But yeah. So yeah, the two Maeuses, pretty solid cards in general. The thing is just the Puddlecroft cards. Obviously, yeah, a lot of the so they did print like put a lot of like the puppet support into like the silvers and bronzes because they didn't really want to focus on it, I guess. So this is like kind of like here to replace try and replace the loss of twin swords, because you can, it's how you give, because they want you to be able to give puppets bane, but they don't want to, but now it's only puppets, it's not other things. It doesn't make a puppet itself unless something else evolves, so still very cute design. Eva's a bit fancy, very especially because this is the animated version. It's got kind of like glowy bits on it. But yeah, very, very. I do like this design. I only just noticed all the ear piercings. That's fancy. Very say so. Yeah, like this is another one of the because it's like kind of just having more craftsman stuff. It's just good good efficient puppet generation, and Rally 10 is really easy to hit for a puppet deck. So it's quite happily like 4 puppets for 1 card, which is pretty strong. You can use that pretty well. Obviously remember, if you fuse one of these puppets to Orcus, you do not get Lost Words, so always be careful about what you're fusing. This I've seen a lot of Artifact decks, I've not seen none of them run this, but you might. I don't think Artifact really needs it. It's got like turns, like you've got enough ways to like hit your 6 artifacts destroyed already, and you don't really need Airstrike and Barrier added to that mix, but it might be useful. It might find its way into decks at some point, who knows. But it's in the current, like, super aggressive form of Artifact Portal. It's just too slow. Like, I mean, Airstrike is technically a Storm Follower, but it's just not, it's just not great. Also, since this is a spell and not casting an artifact from your hand, it doesn't get the playpoint refund from, you don't get your playpoint back from Deus Ex Machina. Rusted Giant is a very funny card to me. This is just to try and justify Gwilius still being around, which is a card I still don't know why they printed. Like, its purpose is to get summoned by Gwilius and add 6 damage to that storm. So you summon Ralmir and this guy in your Gwilius board, and I guess that's a decent amount of damage, but still not really worth running in your deck, I don't think. Then Altiplane Lifeform, I think, is mostly just a like 2 card. It's just handy removal, but not like worth putting in like a normal deck. And then more puppet support of this handsome puppet man. Look at him. Look at him dance. Yeah, like that's pretty, like, can be a decent way of getting a bit of extra reach on puppets, but I don't know if it's particularly good enough, especially because it's like he's 7 cost with no accelerate or any other kind of benefits, no accelerate, so getting one early in your hand is a bit awkward. And you're unlikely to be running the Resonance package these days because Ewan's rotated out and there's no real other benefits to him, so you're only really getting a bit of that, so not great. But definitely, again, nice card intake too. And if you're finding your puppet decks are lacking a bit of endgame reach, definitely worth a shot. Because like that's an additional, because even if you're playing him on 7, that's 4 damage to the face just base. And then you can just keep playing more puppets that might be more puppets that are 0 play points for additional picks. And that is everything. So time to look at some decks. Like, I'll just show you the decks I've been playing around with today. It's like I did get the tactical, I was lucky enough to get the tactical dog leader. So that's good. Very good. Very good dog. So I lost a lot of my early games with it because I was trying to make heroes work. And then I just went with an this Evo Rally deck, which is very much just the old Evo Rally deck, but with some of the stuff replaced with some of the stuff that's rotated out replaced with Spell Scourger, Strategist, and Claymore Master. But otherwise, it's the exact same deck. It's got all the other same cards to it. But yeah, so this is the deck I probably want to like showcase a bit because I said it can be quite cheap. I have made a few edits to try and see what I'm doing. I was running it with Rule and I previously as a kind of like general board control tool, and I might put him back in. But as you see, I've got the kind of basic suite of cards that make ghosts. Just anything that makes ghosts, I put in the deck. And I put that guy in. He's mostly just a filler as a kind of extra bit of reach on the deck. Because, like, on his own, that's just 7 damage. Just 7 damage on a fanfare. On that, or you can just play him as a 2 cost, then evo him for 3 damage. So generally quite a useful little card, just as a kind of extra damage. And also, if you're running a more budget version, you could be running 3 of him. Like, Baccaris is obviously pretty important just as a kind of useful ghost generator. What I found is best is like you play the 2 play point version early. You play the base version early, and then you holding on to the 1 play point version to play alongside the Masquerade Ghost. Because it just gives your combo turns a bit more spice. So a Corral Soul for more ghosts, possibly making ghosts out of ghosts. Though of course if you have Masquerade Ghost up, you have to be careful about board space. Necro Carnival obviously is basically more Masquerade Ghosts because it's Reanimate 5 and summons a ghost, which is always all good. I've put Uranus in the deck mostly to, as I said, help me with other against other Shadowcraft decks. Especially this deck as well, because Masquerade Ghost is a 3/3, and if they evo them to make them bigger, they're usually evoing them to trade into something, so they're almost always going to be at 3 health or less, which Uranus quite handily deals with and stops them getting it back next turn, because then that's banished, that's not in play, that's not giving them their last words, they can't reanimate it from Necro Carnival, it just kind of shuts them down. So I think if Masquerade Ghost does become a big deal, I think Uranus might be a big, like, stopping power to it. I've got Anisade mostly for extra reach, because Undying Resolve gives her, you get a storm, you get to punch through like a big ward and then get a storm, and you're not really spending Necromancy on a lot else in this deck. And again, Trig Delhan is just more ghosts, and is just a fairly handy 3/3. I said, I really found putting ghosts into your hand is very good in this deck. Because it's like ghosts you get to save for, it's ghost generation you get to save for later when this guy's out. And then this is just another, it's very efficient, it's 4 play points for 3 ghosts. It's only got 1 HP, so it's very easy to crash it into, as long as your opponent's got basically anything, you can crash it into something. And even then I've got Corral Souls and Krampus in order to kill my own stuff. So again, that's if I'm thinking my opponent's running Uranus or just a lot of other banish, I'd probably wait until turn 6 to Masquerade Ghost. I can Masquerade Ghost. Probably trade in ghosts to make sure I get the gargantuan ones out, and then Krampus it to make sure it's actually dead. One thing I just kind of like had just a random thought: if you end up playing against like the older Evo Shadow deck, is because Gargantuan Ghosts get banished when they leave play, they don't trigger Skeleton Raiders effect. So even though you are making this constantly large board, they're only going to get like 1 Skeleton Raider ping off it, because they'll only kill your Masquerade Ghost, who's presumably on the board. But yeah, so yeah, obvious cuts if you want to make this true budget is... I'll go to the deck edit to make this look a bit easier. So like obvious cuts is you take out these and you kind of want to... You could also include spiteful screens to pop last words, but there's not that many last words worth using on it. Call of the Great Arm can be used to ensure you've had a Masquerade Ghost die at some point in the game and just replaces it, usually, if you play it early enough. So then you're guaranteed to have a reanimate target for Necro Carnival, which is also good. There's Metatron, if you already have it, is also always a good thing. Angel of Education is just a nice card for any kind of like extra reach damage. If you find yourself low on hand size frequently, Birth of the Ravenous is very good. Tellurian Painter can work pretty well with with any cards that put ghosts into your hand, like Beguiling Spectre and Trick Dullahan, because you can give the Ghost Banes. Sullen Gravekeeper doesn't really do much. Deathcat Reaper is gold, but it's more just removal, helps you kill your own things. Sin Hunter does not do much because it is a weird burial rite card. I said more Bonebreaker Bladesmans also works for more reach. Undying Resentment is not a terrible thing to use your Necromancy on. Astral Projection doesn't really do much, not a lot of your 2 costs are really worth reanimating, there are a lot of fanfares. Lifespan Circulation doesn't do much. Badab Cathar isn't, again, legendary, but if you have it because it's neutral, then not always things. Dungeon Pathfinder doesn't really work, you're not like making a big singular storm usually. Angel's Blessing is always a nice card to have. So more card draw. Skewering Snare is like removal that I'm gonna put Skewering Snare in, just 2. So I'm just making this the budget version and then I'll probably try and demo it a bit. So if I go, let's see, is there any other... So when I was originally playing it, I was using Rulnai, and Rulnai was doing alright. He does his thing. He's very good, but he's not necessary for the deck. It's just a kind of like helps you control the board. It's like if you find yourself getting rushed down to a lot, like Stygian Pizzarola is pretty decent heal. Huguenot Munin, a nice card draw, even if you're not running a Last Words deck, but they're probably best in that. Undead Stampede is another card that gives you a bit of reach. Like, again, you're not spending your Necromancy on a lot, so Like, that's just 4 damage for 3 play points, which is pretty good. Goblin Assault isn't always a bad idea, and again, if you're needing the removal, Blocking Necromancer is fairly useless, because yeah, I just only reanimates Trick Dullahan. Well, the Void is not great, Fudo is not great, you're not really sitting on spells, so... Midnight Greeting can reanimate a Masquerade Ghost, but it will reanimate the one without Last Words. But still, it's not bad. That's because it's again card draw. But I don't think you really need it when you have Necro Carnival in the deck. Undrake Outbreak is just bad, don't put that in the deck. Skull Centaur does nothing for the deck. Parent of Screams has nothing. Grudge Collector is only if you were running Midnight Greeting. Then all that does is give you a different initial fire 5, and also takes up a board slot that you don't really want when you're putting Masquerade Ghost, that you kind of need when you're putting Masquerade Ghost on the field. Hydra of Decay doesn't do much for the deck. Okay, so if we... Okay, let's see, what shall we... Let's put in another Bonebreaker Bladesman, just as more reach. And make this our kind of budget ghosts. There you are. Do I have another animated copy? No, I don't. So this is kind of like our budget ghosts deck. But I think I'll go through the other decks I'm also running just to show what I've made so far, because I don't know if I'll play through it yet, or so yeah, this is the, as I said, probably not worth showing off if you've seen the, I'll just preview it rather. Only haven't changed it. But yeah, this is just ramp, burn, burn. Everything's got either ramp, storm, or deals face damage, or buffs things so that it activates Forte's effects. Of course, Ethica's just a really good card in Dragoncraft right now. And yeah, we'll get Worm for cycling out things that might not be great. And just 1 Skewering Snare, because might as well. And did something to fill the gap. Maybe could have put a Bad of Cather in there either as well. But yeah, very easy deck to make is like, does this get Storm or buff things? Then it goes in the deck. Or if it's a really good overflow payoff like Ethica. Otherwise, is it ramp? Everyone loves so much ramp. There's a lot of ramp in Dragon right now. There's I don't think they lost any in the last rotation. Yeah, Storm and ramp and Storm. Very simple deck plan. If you've got the vials for it, because obviously this is that's a lot of legendaries. Then it's a very simple deck to pilot, but a very expensive one. I've already shown off that. And yeah, this is what I've been running for artifacts so far. And yeah, just Vermedia just really accelerates how quickly you can hit these 6 different artifacts these days. And like, I kind of like thought, oh, that end of turn effect is probably not going to be that useful, but it actually quite is. There's a lot of times you can get that like as long as you have a board that's like at least 3 or 4 followers, which is pretty easy when you have Deus Ex Machina's leader effect active. then can be quite dangerous. Also, we're reaching a point where like almost every like follower card in Portal is an artifact themselves. Like you've just got so many artifacts in there. It's like the only follower card that isn't an artifact is Zerk, who's basically a spell because this fanfare isn't very consistent. Cheeky little boy. But yeah, Zerk is the only non-artifact here. Like all the other non-artifact stuff is spells, and like technically this. I've already seen a few places where it's getting confused, where people will cast Supersonic Breakthrough on Deus Ex Machina and then evolve it for some reason, which, I mean, I guess if they're like cycling through anyway, that makes sense, but like that doesn't, like Deus Ex Machina isn't an artifact follower, so it doesn't get the ability to evolve for 0 Evo points. So if you're not discarding your hand from the leader effect, I think I did see that once, then it's just like, that's just a waste. You spent the Evo point, you have to spend the Evo point. Admittedly, I have done this before accidentally with running Lashena. Because when whenever you cast a spell, you're used to like, okay, I cast Supersonic Breakthrough and then Evo, and then you forget, oh wait, that's not an artifact. You haven't spent the Evo point that I didn't mean to spend. Or like I just wasted a card. They could have saved me an Evo point. Which is very important now because you don't have any Evo point recovery in Portal. Because Unnamed Determination rotated out. So this is your only way of saving Evo points. But yeah, artifacts definitely looking quite scary right now because you can quite easily get your 6 allied artifacts down by like turn 6, and then if you've got Full Blast Gunner's leader effect active, you get a you can quite happily clear a board and then throw artifacts at it. You all make mistakes in the heat of passion, Jimbo. But yeah, like I think, like as it remains to be seen if Artifact is like actually OP or if it's just like preying on a lot of experimental decks, because it is, again, it's a deck people know how to pilot because Genesis Artifact has been a card in Portal for quite a while now. Like it rotates out next, I think next set obviously, but that's obviously a ways away at the moment. So yeah, it just burns you down if you're not ready to stop it. Though as said, what does kind of stop it in its tracks is Forte. Because if you don't take damage from effects, then and can't be attacked, then not only does she stops a lot of the face damage because she stops the cannon artifact shots, dead in air tracks. You can't trade into, you can't kill her with trades, and the deck doesn't really have any like targeted hard removal, so you'd have to like include that in the deck. You'd have to put like something in there. So otherwise you just have no way of dealing with Forte apart from like yeah, you just have no way of dealing with her. And she just stops a lot of your damage because she stops Genesis Artifact shots and Artifact Impulse shots, and that's a lot of your damage. The only thing she doesn't really stop is like Storm, which you don't actually have a lot of. You've only got the... Actually, what do you say? That's like the main counter that I've seen so far. Because like Shion also does like taking in, if you're playing Portal yourself, you can take in Shion to stop that as well, because of course she'll stop the, not only is she annoying to get rid of herself, but she'll stop the effect damage for a turn. So she's not as scary as a fully buffed up Forte. Which is pretty acceptable, easy to do in this deck. If you've got, as I said, you kind of, this is why I think might be worth putting in like 1 or 2 of the armed cards in this kind of deck, because then it makes Forte just it makes it really easy to get for all Forte's effects running. So once you get to this 3rd effect, she's just incredibly scary if your opponent doesn't have targeted removal to deal with her. So this Evo deck has not been updated. It doesn't have any of the new cards in it. It's something I made last set. It just hasn't got anything that rotated out. This is again the same Evo tempo deck that didn't really get any support, so don't think it's particularly. And Dirtburn didn't get any support, but it didn't lose anything, so Dirtburn's probably quite fine. But it's a probably. Also, I'm stalling before actually trying to play the game. I don't watch the anime, but I am really tempted to buy this Shion. It's too many Cygames characters called Shion. They're all different. But look at her, she's so cute, and she's got bunny ears and a little carrot necklace. I'm like, that's so on brand for me. But I have really good Shadowcraft leaders already. I've got Anne already as a Runecraft leader, who's also on brand for my Yuri obsessions. Like, I've still got the Marinara Friends as my profile picture. I'm just like, do I really want to buy that? I have no intention of watching the anime, but girl's just too damn cute. But yeah, as far as... Oh, I can't even look at the temporary decks, that's annoying. I was gonna just show them, but because I've already bought them, I can only look at the old decks, which are all scams now because they've all rotated out. And oh, it's time for daily title screen bonuses. There you go. Yeah, login bonuses, which will probably include we'll start getting new. Yeah, we'll get our event login bonuses. Oh, we get a cube profile icon. But yeah, they haven't put the event stuff up, the actual release event stuff up. Because there's going to be like a puzzles and a new quest mode coming out. But yeah, if I go to my profile, you can see I already have so many Shadowcraft leaders. I even have Milteo, who's incredibly shiny. I should probably actually use more often. I do like Kinsetsu, but Milteo is non-binary, so that's also one. That's also one brand. It also has the shiny extra sleeves. So yeah, I'm gonna go Milteo for a bit, at least while I'm streaming. But yeah, I really don't need to. Oh wait, no, I keep thinking she's the Shadowcraft leader. No, she's the Runecraft leader. Who do I have on Runecraft? I think I just have Anne on Runecraft actually. Oh yeah, I've got Anne and Kuon, who's also non-binary. Sorry, Anne. Yeah, I do want... Yeah, I am... Yeah, I really wish I could check the... But either way, I don't think the temporary decks or any of the temporary decks are particularly very good. Because it's because there's Armed Dragoncraft, which is a bit jank. Chess Runecraft, which I have no idea if it's actually any good, but I haven't seen anyone playing it, so I don't think it's so it's probably not great. And what was the third? What was the other one? It's like a Crystallized Havencroft, which is probably the most consistent option, but still, again, as Daka was saying, it's like you're so dependent on having Skullfane early that it's kind of iffy. That deck really needs like a card that's just like put the highest crossed Havencroft follower from your deck into your hand. But yeah, I do want to like decks I haven't built yet that I do want to try out. Very cute. Very shiny. Is like is Chess Rune. And I don't want to go into ranked yet, I want to build decks. It's like I'm thinking of going for like a Chess Rune deck, or actually no, I can check the where can I know how to check the yeah, here we go. Now we can look at those. Now we can look at the decks. So yeah, so it's pretty standard what you'd expect, and like in terms of like value of cards, again, a lot of these cards are very specific. Like, because I generally how I as like a person who's played the game a lot and has like a large collection already look is I look like, right, what of these cards are most generally useful to me? And like, what are the legendaries here? So the Runecraft, a Runecraft deck, and the 2 Mystic Kings, which is pretty much only useful in a chess deck. You could run it in some kind of Ryo Imagination Realized deck, and I did find it kind of the temporary deck did make me realize, oh, you can use Elimination Unleashed to tutor Mystic King, which might and reduce its cost, so it's 5 play points after. It's only 5 play points after its initial after a single turn, so you can do something that can be a bit shinier. You can play it on 7 alongside some kind of 2-drop, though there's not actually that many options apart from like Accusphere or Counter Magic to shore up your defenses. Because your board is assumedly full of pawns. I guess you trade them off. But yeah, it's got this kind of like mostly chess, but they've just like filled it in with a bit of spell boosts, mostly out of Meltina. And like Chakram Wizard for like mostly removal. It's like, it's very much you want some spell boost in there, but you don't really need like a lot of spell boost. And like Murray helps you thin out specifically spell boost cards. Also another very good very good card art. So yeah, I do want to try building this deck, as I didn't need to take this out because I drew 2 Mystic Kings out of my initial set of packs, so I was like, oh, I really shouldn't like take this as a temporary deck because I've already got most of the cards for it, because I've already got I basically got the Meltina and 2 Mystic Kings. Was it 2 Meltinas and 1 Mystic King? I can't remember. Double check when I'm actually building decks. But I also already have a full set of Sacred Birds. So, again, not really a value pickup. It's like the armed deck I mostly picked up for the additional Captain Dragewood. It's like, 2 Leviathan Dragons. If it's useful, you're only really going to be playing 2 of them, I think. And I already had a full set of Fortes. So that wasn't particularly useful, but it's like there was none of these were like, okay, I've got all of these cards. I guess maybe the Haven deck would have been a slightly more value, but again, a lot of the cards are a bit more specific, and I wasn't particularly confident in it. Not entirely sure why Caladrius is in this deck, because you've not got a lot of healing. You've got the Impious Bishop's Last Words, and Indomitable Prayer, Skullfane, I guess? Yeah, weird choice to put in the deck, but then it's only a bronze. It doesn't really matter, you don't really care about the bronzes. But like, out of like the viability of these decks, I think the Crystallized Havencraft is probably better, though you do need to make, you do really want to have a full set of Skullfanes because it is really dependent on it. Well, Chess Runecraft is probably a bit more, I'd say, out of the box, this deck probably functions the most. Like, you've got 2 tutor cards for your... Once you've only got 2 Mystic Kings, you've got 2 tutor cards for them, and your other legendaries, the other legendary options in here are just, like, you can replace Sacred Words of Wisdom with, you can just run Insights instead, which obviously, that's the one awkward thing about the pre-built decks, is they obviously can't put basic cards in, because you have those already, you guaranteed that you have them. So obviously if they put them in these decks, that would be bad, which is why there's like, there's no, there's no Dragon Oracles in the Dragoncraft deck, because like that would be a waste. But yeah, I think this deck like functions the most out of the box. If you want to start playing the game, it's got a fairly straightforward game plan once you like know what the cards do, because it's just like, oh, you get you read the cards, they say, okay, you make lots of pawns, you put lots of pawns onto the field, and then you get your big king and you smack people in the face with it. And for low ranks, low ladder, that will be a pretty good deck to climb ladder with, I think. That's my personal day one recommendation on pre-built decks, is Chess Runecraft, because Armed Dragoncraft just doesn't work half the time. And Crystallized Havencraft is highly reliant on drawing a single card in the deck. Obviously you can make this a lot more consistent with more investment, like you get more Skullfanes, you get more Holy Lightning Birds, and you obviously want a third Diamond Master. You'd also probably want a full set of Impious Bishops. And there's a fair few things you can take. You can like take out all these Caladriuses. They aren't doing much for the deck. Like maybe 1 or 2. Thunder God's pretty good because it's a 1 play point crystallized, but how its accelerate is tiered can make it a bit more awkward. Can be quite useful in the mirror though, because you can blow up your opponent's Bejeweled Shrine. But then, is that useful? Like, you could put God of Curses in this deck. As I said, giving God of Curses Storm from Diamond Master is not a bad idea, to be honest. But, like, there's a lot of good option. Like, that's where the potential is. Like, what kind of things can you give Storm to? That is really strong. Like, one of the best things is like the Pegasus from Pegasus Knight, because that's a 5/7. Because it comes into play evolved. But actually not that great. Well, actually no, yeah. Because you'd have your Pegasus Knight come into play. You play Diamond Master, you evolve your Pegasus Knight, and you play Wingy Chirpy Gemstone, and then you kind of have to prey on a 50. You are preying on a 50-50 because the Storm could hit either Pegasus Knight herself or the Pegasus. So that's what kind of makes it a bit less inconsistent. Unless you have something to trade the Pegasus Knight into, it is a 50-50 flip. Which, I mean, they could have something to trade the Pegasus Knight into, but if they don't have, like, something that's at least 4 attack for you to get her killed off, then Diamond Master is going to... It's a 50-50 whether the Storm hits the Pegasus Knight or the Pegasus itself. Obviously, one is a lot better than the other for that. But if that does go off and you've got Bejeweled Shrine in play, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage! That was a terrible impression of Black Seal Man. Absolutely awful, I apologise profusely. But otherwise, it's also just got solid cards like Mace Jester's very solid, I think. See play in a decent amount of decks. Mayor Chef also fairly solid, is a 0 play point Storm. That's good. And Sapphire Priestess have gone very good in this deck. But you know, let's actually use practice mode for practice, and let's see how, before we actually commit to building anything, let's play practice Runecraft against, like, we can play against one of the, let's play against Swordcraft. Let's see how it deals against. Oh yeah, we do have the other, it does let you play again, of course, against the other decks, so that's the one that's in rotation. So if we play against the pre-built Rally Swordcraft AI, just get a feel for the deck before actually jumping into ladder with it. Something I've never actually done before, but just kind of like when I was doing this thinking, it's like, this is actually a very smart and useful feature that you can trial out. You can trial out the temporary decks. So probably, I think I just want to mulligan for yeah, for anything that generates pawns early game. So that's good. So we've got a good handful of pawn summoning. So we can start with that. Trays off that, which is pretty good. So that's and the thing is, you do want that to be. There's no point bumping this really at this current point in time. The deck came with a Kagamitsu. That's kind of scary. So this is going to be so far so drawing cards. So I'm probably going to trade off the Kagamitsu because it keeps this ward up. We've got 2 magical knights in hand, which is pretty good. Jewelblade Knight is pretty scary, actually. That's very scary. But the AI's actually got AI with good decks is actually kind of terrifying. But we do just kind of need to. And so if I want to counter magic, I don't need both of these eliminations unleashed, so I think it's a good idea to Story of a Lifetime one. And we got a Mystic King in hand, though our pawn count is only at 3, which isn't great. We kind of need a few more. But we can clear off a lot of these hits. This is why the spell boost package seems to be in this deck, is just this kind of like very... I'm too used to like other like players BMing me, so when the AI does it technically in earnest, So that's actually kind of scary having them getting that kind of large board up. Because like I don't think it's worth tutoring out this tutoring out the other Mystic King. I think if I okay, that helps a lot. So yeah, we can do this. And how do I want to do these trades? Well, the noises this card makes is Milady is a bit it's a bit weird. But this will, yeah, this means we get our, so yeah, this is a kind of like a power tap we kind of want to make. So then we play a magical strategy. She puts a pawn into play, and she puts a second pawn into play. And now we get to play these magical knights. What's our... Yeah, so the deck can make some pretty spicy turns with the right setup. That's interesting, that's good to know. Alright, and they get so yeah, definitely got some spice to it. Like I said, we don't have our Mystic King active right just yet. What's our Aqueous Sphere spell booster? 3 out of 5, so... It's not quite enough to get the double shot, which we really want. I think... With the Elimination Unleash... Oh yeah, we can do this maneuver where we Elimination Unleash. The Story of a Lifetime, the Angel's Blessing, I think. And then Aqueous Sphere hits 2 things. And do we care about the Assault Knight in play? Like, if it was playing against a human player, I probably would, so yeah. Even though it's probably better to... Especially if they're getting Kagamitsu in play. Dogged Detective, haven't seen that in a while. Oh man, they're not even playing, they're playing Unlimited technically, because this deck rotated out. So, I think might as well play the 0 play point Mystic King, because the other Mystic King will become 0 play points anyway. Ooh, that's a loud noise. Wow. I love that noise, that's hilarious. So we are going to have to do some kind of awkward trades here, but... Okay, here's a fun little thing we can do with this. So if we... Well, this is possibly not efficient, but I'm just kind of like messing with things, so... Copy a magical pawn here. noise! That noise just absolutely destroys me. Oh, the thing is here that playing magical strategy will summon too many pawns, and we don't want to do that. We want to save that for next turn when we kill them. So noise just kills me every time. I can't deal with it. I'm just going to enchanting spell and go. Enchanting spell and go first. Oh yeah, there's the bois. Nah, that's scary. They don't have an evo point, so it's not really scary. And they're not. They can't kill the Mystic King, so that's not particularly scary either. I'm just still. Here we go. Wah, wah. I love that. Okay, I have to make this deck work just to hear that noise. Like, yeah, let's just. Oh, I've got a fun idea. Whilst we're messing with the computer. Wah, wah, wah. This is great. I'm sorry. I have to keep going. I have to keep messing with it. I have to keep making the noise. Gotta keep making the noise. It's hilarious. Wah, 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 wah. Why is this making me laugh so much? Okay, we can get one more. Or two more, technically. See what. Oh, listen to that. I love this guy. It fires a giant laser, of course it does. Amazing. Okay, I have to build this deck now, even if it's shit. Okay, yeah, that settles it. We have to make check. We have to. Unfortunately, we have to be very boring. We have. I mean, we've already. Swordcrafters always be playing chess. It's got a monochrome endgame in it. Yeah, have to. Okay. We're doing it, chat. We're making chess runecraft. Can we just copy? Well, we can't just grab the deck code, can we? No, we have to do it through QR code, but okay, we can compromise. So, new deck and easy way to start this. Chess. So we basically need all the chess cards to start with. I won't bother with that one animated. See, I did only get one Mystic King. Okay, got a decent amount of vials, and I don't think I've got too many other legendaries to make. So, the next question is, what do we add? What do we... Like you said, so Sacred Bird's always a good card. It's basically strictly better insight. So just generally good to have around. So let's look at core. Well, so like we've got a lot to actually like include here. Oh, we know Card Seer is worth putting in the deck alongside it. So what are? So I'm just gonna flick through and see if we can find. Festive. Festive doesn't really help us because Festive is all just basically just drawing cards. So counter magic's probably good. I'm just kind of looking firstly at cards that are specifically good with the chess cards. I'm just trying to think about what actually is good at here. Not really. Orchestral, not really. Urgent, no. It said Evo point recovery and or banish might be good, but I'm not entirely sure. Meandering Bolt is card draw, which might be good, but might be better just to have So yeah, you're more for a more like dedicated spell boost deck. Osmari does seem to be like pretty good to have in just like any deck with some spells. Mirrored Summoning could be pretty good just to make a because then you can I can't be talking about enemy effects, so having a Mirrored Summoning or two might be a fun idea just so you have, so like if your Mystic King doesn't kill, you play Mystic. It's assuming like a 0-cost Mystic King. And you play that and you get an additional one that has ward. Or you just use it to double up on Magical Night Storm. So think about Mirrored Summoning. Mirrored Summoning might be a card you put in the deck. The Chakram Wizard is just really good, so again, another consideration if we're putting in like the mini spell boost package. Iron Grare doesn't really do much. There's no really way to increase to help it out. As I said, since the trial deck was running 2 Mystic Kings, 2 Elimination Unleashed. Actually, I think I'll just save it on a bit. Yeah. We'll see. I'll have a think about that one. Imagination Realized could be very funny to get Mystic King out early, but I think that's definitely a bit of a high roll card. Like a lot of these cards, you've got a lot of low cost cards in this deck as well, so chances are yes. If we're going for the spell boost package, Raining Blades might be pretty good. Because that'll add, because we get a lot of Storm followers in play. So having some buffs on those could be pretty solid. And so the Chrono Witch I think is just for like possibly base spell boost, but base spell boost doesn't have the base drop. We've got to have the base drop from Mystic King. That's what the deck is. Okay, I'm going to go 3 Mystic Kings and 1 Elimination Unleashed. Might be put more Elimination Unleasheds in the deck. There's Ryo himself, yeah. Like that would be if you're running more of. I think you could put Mystic King in a Ryo deck. As long as you've put like other cards that can like tuck him in, like or just discard him, because obviously you don't want a Mystic King in your hand. I suddenly need the bathroom, so I'm going to make a quick bathroom break whilst I think about cards put in the deck, and you all can possibly think of ideas to go in the deck. But yeah, thinking the idea they had with just like the light spell boost package, just to augment the deck a little, might be useful, because then you can also run stuff like Dreams Come True for more card draw. There's a lot of options if we start putting a few spell boost options in here. But yes, I really need the bathroom, so I'll be right back. Just a moment. And we're back. Sorry about that. At least have the convenient life of studio apartment living. But yeah, so I think maybe... Because Chrono Witch is pretty bad in this. Like, there's no point of going full spell boost with like Chrono Witch and Kuon. Those both require like a very dedicated spell boost deck. But we can, I think we can put... Yeah, so we can put stuff like Raining Blades in. Do we need Ice Storm? We kind of like have a lot of board control already through the pawns, so not entirely sure. And I don't think we need I think Dream Come True is probably going in a bit too hard on the spell boosts. I don't think we need. So we'll see who do this. Like maybe Blazing Bomb, but I think rather than Blazing Bomb, we just want the I'm sure Chakram Wizard is just really good, especially if you're running on a low budget of spell boosts, essentially. You want my... There's Witching Mongi now. Again, that's a card that definitely needs like dedicated spell boost decks. Otherwise, I mean, I guess it costs okay. Yeah, I think we can put a couple of Meltinas in, and I don't think we need 3. I don't think we need to craft a 3rd. Angel's Blessing is a pretty good card, so if we've got space for it, we can put Angel's Blessing in. If we've got like 1 slot, we'll fill it with a Uranus, I think. So Aqueous Sphere, I've got. I'll put Aqueous Spheres in, because I think that has the potential to just be a very useful removal, especially if there's a lot of like stuff, and it can kill Mystic Kings sometimes if you spell boosted enough. Counter Magic's a pretty good card since we're already pretty close to full actually, so I don't think we need all of those. Yeah, I think 3 Aqueous Spheres for removal. Since then we've got pretty much the rest of the spell boost package, and we've added its Raining Blades. It means we could, if we take out Meltina and Chakram Wizard, and just use... That's an idea. We can use Mari just to tutor for its Raining Blades for more damage. Because otherwise that's just card draw. We can replace that with like any other card draw. Like Chakram Wizard obviously is pretty good for spell boosting and removal, but we could replace him with the other spell boost chappie that doesn't have spell boost himself, I don't think. The Card Slinger he doesn't have. Yeah, and he deals 3 damage to an enemy follower on Evo, so let's actually... Yeah, I like this idea of, so the only card Mari pulls is its Raining Blades, so we've got a very straight path to one of our best spells. And then, so rather than running any other spell boost cards, we just run, like... I guess it's either Raining Blades or Aqueous Sphere, but I think Aqueous Sphere is good enough to put in our hand there. And then I think we take an Angel's Blessing and 3 Insights. Like, obviously... I mean, I don't think... I'd rather have Insight than Enchanting Spell. That's just me. There's like cards that always draw a card. I could take out this a little Elimination Unleashed for a little extra space, maybe for another Angel's Blessing, probably better, I think. But I like having at least 1 tutor just to make our end game a bit more consistent. So yeah, maybe this is a good idea. We'll see how it works. We'll see how but we still need to do this? Ah, Lem! Thank you for the raid, how you doing? Hello, hello. What you been up to, Lem? It's great to see you too, my dear. I'll shout out you both. That's not, I meant to put shout out. Just playing Immortals Phoenix Rising. That's the yeah, Donut County. Donut County looks fun. I want to try that at some point. Definitely a game. Yeah, because I saw you were playing you're playing like some hard mode challenge on Doom, weren't you, my dear? Yeah, Donut County looks fun. I've heard good things about that. And Mortals Phoenix Rising is also, I hear, pretty solid. It's just like one of it's sort of one of those like we've made a pretty successfully okay Breath of the Wild clone, but with Greek mythology stuff. Ooh, Ultimate Doom, Ultraviolet Fast Bosses. That sounds like, yeah, I heard like Immortals Phoenix Rising is a very like derivative game in a lot of ideas, but it's actually like still a very good game, I think. But yeah, Ultimate Doom also, yeah. I guess if you're like, since everything's dying so fast and everything's going super whizzy, that it's got to kind of getting that almost ultra kill levels of speed. But yes, hello and welcome to Gowley on the Rocks and all the other it is, and hello to Hades TGK. I've seen you in I think we've chatted in Medea's chat before. Also, at least I recognise that name. Ah, and thank you, Caden, for the gift subs to Medea. You lovely people, I think. Get Makura Wigglies and the gifts up to Lem. I knew you weren't going to stop at one. I knew you'd go. I had an idea. You weren't going to be just that. Also, as an aside, all gift subs are 25% off at the end of September, which is obviously not something I have to deal with. I still get my full share. Yeah. Again. Yeah, for people who don't know, I am Kurosami. I'm a digital rabbit VTuber. I don't really have much going on beyond that. I play a lot of games, but I mostly play a lot of Shadowverse, which is what we're doing now. You don't want to force it just yet. Don't worry, I'm preparing. You don't have to worry. Like, and also, like, I'm not going to do it, like, instantly the moment the sub goal gets reached. The sub goal just means it's definitely happening soonish. I am preparing. But yeah, so yeah, I just play a lot of games. I do a lot of things. As I said, I've got a sub goal for doing some karaoke. Haven't done karaoke before, but I have been practicing. I love Wigglies. It's just the bimbification of Lem is complete. I see. But yeah, there's continuing my self-introduction to everyone else here. I play a lot of Shadowverse. I usually play Shadowverse like as a set thing on Sundays, but they just released a new set out this today, so I just thought, oh, I'll do a Shadowverse stream on Tuesday, and also it means I get to do my Shadowverse streams on like a day with the oh, you're giving other people a chance, Caden. Yeah, we'll see. As I said, so I'll probably but yeah. So also this means I get to put my Shadowverse streams, which are my streams that generally do the best, on a day that is still during the last week of September. So I'm angling on the money angle as well, but mostly because the new set came out today, and I want to it's a good idea. I think it's a fun idea to capture the day one stuff. I'm currently building a deck using the new cards, which for this particular cast is all themed around chess. You summon a bunch of pawns, and then once you've had summoned a bunch of pawns, you get a bunch of effects. Will you now? Yes, we do. We absolutely should collab together. I'm trying to Thank you for the follow, Hades. Lovely to see you follow. But yeah, definitely need to. I'm trying to sort out. I'll probably try and poke people for collabs next week or something. Maybe later this week. I do want to get a I do want to get an extra Gorilla stream on at least Friday, so I might be streaming. So I'll stream something on Friday. It'll either be something like Sekiro or Gundam Evolution, I think. Probably Gundam Evolution, try and get them, if I'm being very cynical. Nah, well, who am I to deny a friend of a friend and a new follower? But Hades also gets a shout out. Also playing Doom. The Dooms of the Eternals. Yeah, I'll be playing the rest of, hopefully the rest of Doom 2 on Thursday. So I got through half of it last time, and hopefully get through the other half on Thursday. Unless I get hopefully I won't get in a place where I'm stuck in one of their annoying cityscape levels. Fine, Caden. You're always here though, Caden. If I shouted you out every time you were here, then you'd get a I'd give you. Caden's great. Caden's not just pay to win. Caden's my long-standing regular, and yeah, if you only need to check out his streams if you want. It's just chill. It's got a very chill stream, Caden. But I'll shout him out. It's friends. But yeah, for those people who don't know, Shadowverse is an card game. It's a digital card game similar to Hearthstone. That's what I usually go to, because a lot of people know Hearthstone, but if you don't know Hearthstone, well, it's just, I don't know how to describe it really. It's a game where you play cards, and there's very limited interaction on each other's turns. So you can't do things whilst your opponent's turn, basically. Which is unlike stuff like Magic the Gathering, and it doesn't do the weird turn flippy thing that Legends of Runeterra does. Oh, thank you for the follow, Tay Heart. There's always more VTubers to follow. We're endless. There's always more of us. We are legion. And then we follow each other. Yes, thank you and welcome. Well, yeah, I haven't spent money on Magic the Gathering in ages, and also I barely. This is thank you. My avatar. It's not a It's a purchasable model from. All the credits are in. And I can never remember how to say the artist's name, but if you check my about page, I've got all the credits listed there. But the model's name is Ceramic Bunny, and you can do the I gotta love just Medea just the continual bullying of Len in the chat. But yeah, the model is from an artist that I can never. It's like Orielist @Orielist, as I think is the tag, but they're like their actual name is something slightly different. Yeah. So it's a. Is that I don't have the money for a custom model or even a unique model, so I bought this like generic model that you could buy off Booth or whatever Nizuma or whatever. This one's called Ceramic Bunny. So it's a rabbit. It's really good. The glasses are not from the model. The glasses are from V-Roid is also really good. I've been messing about with the V-Roid to see if I can get my own like custom model. All just for 3D in case like I ever want to do like some basic VR stuff and VR chat stuff. I'm just cracking up with everybody's but yeah, so I just bought this model and then used VTube. You can do some basic recoloring in VTube Studio, and then I put on these glasses assets which were made by Rosuri. And you can buy these off the and they're available to buy off the Iron Vertex Ko-Fi page. Which again, credits for everything that I use is in the my about page. It's great. I love having lively chat moments. It's great. As I said, I've been building a deck. As I said, you don't have to worry about one nice thing about Shadowverse is it is a free-to-play game, which obviously means it will try and pressure you into spending money, but as if you play as much as I do, you don't have to spend money. I've only spent money on like luxury, like cosmetic things. I don't spend like a lot of money on the game. I never spend it on packs or whatever. But obviously if you're just starting out it can be a bit harder, but they are pretty nice. You can get temporary. They do offer temporary decks that last until the next set comes in, and then they give you another set of temporary decks, so you've always got that option. And I'm actually building, the deck I'm building is based on one of the temporary decks currently available, which again is based on this chess theme. And I'm mostly building this deck because I tried it out because you can practice with the temporary decks against AI, against the computer before you commit to like picking one, because you only get to pick 1 out of 3. And I picked it because I played a practice deck and I played this card, and the sound effects on this card are incredible. Is that I can't show it in the deck building screen, but if I go to the cards list screen, I'll be able to play the voice sounds for you. But first, I'm going to craft the cards. Vials are just like you burn cards to get vials to, and then use vials to make cards. Then we save the deck, and the deck is chess. And then you get all like the main the only thing I ever spend money on, and honestly I only do it very occasionally, is your like player characters, which are entirely cosmetic. So all these things, except ones that you can get randomly. Yes, if you hadn't it's whatever you wanted, baby. Is that if for those interested, I am what's called gender apathetic. So that means I associate as whatever's just like I'm in the mood for or is convenient at the time. You might notice an interesting so I usually prefer, in terms of pronouns, I prefer like I don't really like care much for like they, them, so I'll usually like either he, him, or she, her, and it's not usually tied to how my body's presenting, so feel free to use either regardless of how I'm presenting, and feel free to make use of the funny points regime, which you've probably figured out what does. But yeah, it's like I'm a really lazy variant of non-binary. Yes. So when I started streaming, so when you probably started seeing me, yeah, when you saw me when you first found me, because yeah, you came into one of my Quake streams. I hadn't kind of figured this out yet. It's something I only figured out like last week or so about myself. So I was still using like the flat version of the model. It's just a toggle. Imagine how much greater the world would be if we all had boob toggles. But yeah. So at the time when I started VTube, this is something I figured out as VTubing, partially because of this function of the model. Because I was like, oh, I'm kind of jealous, but I don't really feel. It's a lot of complicated feelings about it, but it's a identity I've found myself. I know a lot of people who would absolutely kill for this ability. I would kill for this ability. But unfortunately, we don't live in whatever magical future allows this. You just put the mouse on my face. But anyway. Yeah. Important part of deck construction is to pick sleeves. As you can see from this selection of sleeves, if you're familiar with things, Shadowverse is a game that gets a lot of collabs, a lot of crossovers. So we've got here again, I don't like claim to like know the pains of actually having boobs. It's just it's an entirely digital representation. I have no desire to like go for like surgery or hormone treatment or whatever IRL. It's just like I'd maybe get some like stuff I can put on and off, like a breast form or whatever, but otherwise I don't really. Anyway, enough talking about IRL stuff. I think I'm getting a bit too oversharey in the moment, but yeah. No, it's absolutely fine. I like talking about it. I think I ended up oversharing a bit, so because I'm starting to get into a bit too deep in the beans. I'm talking about myself too much, which is something I need to avoid because obviously I want to avoid doxing myself. I think that's kind of vague enough information. But yeah, loads of collabs. Like stuff you'd expect because it is made by Cygames, so you do have Uma Musume, which is also made by the same company. There was a Chikawa collab recently that just ended the other day, which is like a series of like Twitter comics and with line stickers associated of these kind of like weird cute creatures that get up to weird stuff. I don't understand it, but it has a big fan base. So a lot of people were very I'd say there was a Nier Automata collab because Nier Automata collabs with absolutely everything under the sun. There's Love of Thirst, Shaman King when that reboot happened, Love is War, Code Geass. This Haruhi. The own animes. There's a new anime coming out. I don't like either of the animes because this one looks like a Digimon ripoff and this one looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh ripoff. There's ReZero, Princess Connect, again another Cygames collab, Mysteria Friends, which again is Cygames property. Zombieland Saiga is also another Cygames thing. I really need to. I still haven't watched Zombieland Saga Revenge. I really need to get onto that. And yeah, just loads and loads of stuff. And of course, I've been playing ages, so I have all these sleeves from all across the time. But who do I want for this? Let's get Right of the Ignorant, because that's a good old classic one. Yes, I guess whilst I've got all the people here, might as well show some people what a game of Shadowverse is like. So I'm going to head into Monster Rank, where hopefully we'll probably play against someone else who's running a weird experimental deck. So let's see how chess handles against whatever the hell we end up against. And this will hopefully like demonstrate. I'll do a bit of, since we've got, as I said, all the raiders and all the new people, I'll try to like do a bit of explaining. So they're playing Bloodcraft, which means they're probably playing a very aggressive deck, because Bloodcraft is all about Bloodcraft's main effects usually involve hurting yourself for some kind of benefit. Like you do something, you play a card and it deals 1 damage to your face, and then usually deals damage to the opponent and also removes something. So I don't like our odds here. We don't really want... So this deck we want to basically get to 8 magical pawns on board. So we want to keep anything that basically is low cost that generates magical pawns. So we don't want this card because this costs 6, and this card is not useful until later. It costs 9. This is not a great starting hand. Thank you, Lem. And that's not great to play on 1 because it wants a 1 playpoint card to start with. So yeah, not entirely a good time so far. So they're probably playing what's called... So that makes me think they're probably playing what's called Handless Blood, which is where they're trying to... There's a card in the Bloodcraft cast that when they start a turn with no cards in their hand, it comes from their deck into play immediately on the turn. That only happens once, so regardless of how many copies they have in the deck. So their main game plan is to play cards out of their hand until they have an empty hand, and then they get that big payoff. So I'm kind of like, they've got a kind of wide board, but it's not a particularly threatening board, so I'm kind of tempted to just Insight here because you've got 2 cards with Spell Boost, which is whenever I play a spell, they have an effect. And in this case specifically, it's they have 1 cost reduced for them. So if I play, I can show that here. I can play Insight, that goes there. Oh, we got another Insight. Insight is just a 1 playpoint, 1 cost spell that draws a card, so you can quite happily keep playing it, and that's a pretty good, I'd say that's a pretty solid turn. Like, we're gonna get hit by this group, but there's a good idea against the type of deck I think my opponent is playing of not putting anything on my board early, because they have a lot of cards that if they have a target to hit, they can play a card that's like discard a card from your hand, deal damage to an enemy follower. So if there's no follower in play, they can't play that spell, so they can't reduce their hand size down. And now what I can do is I can start setting up for a spicier turn, because this guy, at the end of the turn, he'll spell boost the cards 3 times, which is just these 2. So those 2 will become 0 cost at the end of turn. I forgot I couldn't evolve this turn, which is a Shadowverse's like main exclusive mechanic, which means I don't get this evolve effect. So they'll probably evolve, but they're also, again, they're sitting on 4 cards at this stage of the game, which is not great for them. So they're not actually doing anything particularly scary. Like, they're being probably fairly aggressive. So they trade that for, because that has Bane, which means it kills whatever it deals damage to from attacking. It kills. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. Like, that's a card that benefits from them for having a low amount of Yeah, this isn't really going particularly great. I think I'm probably a bit screwed, so... We'll try and survive, but we're in a pretty, bad situation right here. We might as well play these because they cost nothing. Also, hey Zen. And then we can use him to kill that because that has Bane, and also he only deals 3. So the only awkward thing is here we're not going to have him in play by the end of turn, so he doesn't get his spell boost effect off, which we would really want to on these cards because they have a very high cost, so we want to spell boost them down quickly. But I think we're just dead regardless of what we do here. There's a lot of ways they can kill us. They literally just need 1 damage. So not a great first game because we got matched up against a very aggressive deck and we had a fairly... So yeah, we're dead. Like, that's one of their... Well, they had loads of damage. There was absolutely no way we were surviving that. So you can see they were playing a fairly aggressive deck and we just didn't have a very good start. So this is one of the good reasons why it's good to be experimental at the very start of a new set release, because your rank is very low and you can't go below 0 if you're already at master rank. So there's not a lot like rank. You don't have to worry about losing rank points. So obviously I don't want to try tweaking the deck just yet. I want to see if I can get a slightly better starting hand that works a little, that doesn't just crumple, and hopefully not just playing against... If we end up just keep playing against Handless Blood, we might just have to not be so experimental. As I said, I don't really mind losing a lot right now. So Portal, they're probably playing... Yeah, they're probably playing Artifact Portal, so... Oh, we keep encountering tryhards, that's terrible. So yeah, we want to... I think, Milady, but without an Evo, isn't particularly useful to us. Because we're going first, we only get 2 Evo points, and we so we're gonna keep counter magic. That's the slightly better start. But yeah, so the Shadowverse is like main, and we drew a Milady anyway. So like Shadowverse's main like differentiator mechanic is the evolve system, where you have a bunch of points. You have 3 if you're going second and 2 if you're going first. And you use them to, once a turn, you can use them to evolve a follower. That's pretty good if it stays in play. And like you can see, it's got another set of stats for its evolved form. And usually evolve just gives it 2... Okay. So I'm going to... No, it's better to play this spell because it's otherwise just going to be a bit clunky. But yeah, so evolve gives it different stats, so which is usually just 2 more attack and 2 more defense. That's a bit annoying, because that is a 3/4 drain. Drain means whenever it deals damage from attacking, it heals the leader for that much. So in that case, I'm probably going to go with... Let's just get, like, leaving that in play isn't too much dangerous, but if we can do this, our pawns have rush, which means they can attack an enemy follower whenever they, enter the battle, whenever they come in play, rather than having to wait a turn. And when you evolve a follower, it also just has the same kind of rush effect innately. But it's not counted as rush, so if something is specifically looking for the word rush, an evolved follower does not count for that. That's a bit more advanced stuff. This card does a lot of complicated things that I don't really have time to explain. So now we're going to do this little neat thing. This will showcase evolving in a kind of like a proper way. So we play this follower, and then we evolve this follower, which has an effect on Evolve, which puts one of these into our hand, and when we play one of these, it puts a spell into it. It sees, when you play the follower, put this spell into your hand. And then we play this spell, and that spell does damage, and it puts a lot of, and it puts another one of these followers, so we get a bunch of these little pawns. And once we get to 8 magical pawns having left play, which we are at, yeah, we can make that this turn with this card here, which duplicates a 1 play point follower on the battlefield. So this is slightly inefficient, because now we have to trade this in and we're losing a follower. But we want to have 8 magical pawns having left play by the end, because this guy's effect reduces his cost, which is normally 16, which is way too hard to actually cast in a game. You only go up to 10. But you see now he's reduced down to 8. Which obviously we can't play next turn, but the turn after that he'll be reduced down to 0. So then he's free. But we might still die before he's actually useful. Because Artifact is another kind of it's kind of like a burst. Their plan is to do a lot of burst damage. So they get a lot of art, which again, explaining Artifact is very complicated. Okay, that's a pretty good card to get, so... Yeah, I want to... I think this is mostly a setup turn. No, this is mostly a setup turn. So you want to kind of like get rid of as much stuff as possible. So I want this and this, because we want to reduce our costs by a lot. So if we shoot that with his 3 damage on Evolve, and then we can bump that, take that with a pawn, and ping them for another 1, because 1 damage might be what this wins. So next turn, we can do quite a powerful powerful set of plays, because we've got this Mystic King, who is not only a 13/13, which is quite large, he can't be targeted, but he summons a bunch of those magical pawns and gives them Storm, which allows them to attack my opponent's face directly. They do have a pretty scary board, but again, we have a lot of cards to play next turn. But we will get to at least see the main reason I like playing this deck. As people who were here beforehand would have also seen. And yeah, they're just doing a bunch of nonsense. But now we get to do this. Wah. We get a bunch of pawns and then wah, 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 wah. I love that noise. It might be childish, but God, I love that noise. So we kind of want to kind of deal with a lot of their board right now. But we get to play a lot of these. Bwah, bwah. Love this. And then we use this to kind of extend our reach a bit. Kind of screwed it up. Yeah, it's just really good chess sounds. And then I'm just going to play these kind of as board filler. We didn't draw another king, which is a bit of a problem. Because if they can kill this king, then we are in a bit of a bind. But it's also likely that they can't kill this king because he can't be targeted. And we deliberately made our board very wide. so that they've got an effect that whenever a special type of follower they play enters the board, it does 2 damage to a random follower. So they're trying to ping off the board and try and kill my king, because otherwise he's a big 13/13 that smashes their face. But they can't target him directly, but they can attack him directly. So I think he's still going to die, but we're not going to take any damage. Okay, we are going to take a bit of damage. But we actually have... Yeah, they can... Because that can't actually target them. So they got the other cannon artifact. They actually misplayed a little bit there because we had an effect that negated a hit of damage from them. And that negated 4 damage if they should have attacked with that first to hit to get rid of 2 damage. So if we can find... So we've still got a decent amount of like... ways to deal with things. If we can... So we... The only thing is even if we draw... Okay. So I kind of this is a turn that's going to take a while, so I kind of have to just kind of... We're going to want to play out... cards in our hand that summon pawns so that we can kind of just like deal with their board. And then we play this spell. This guy. So we're kind of hoping we... this is not great, but if anything survives, you're probably good. I think we overextended there. Because, yeah, we're not likely to have a board that survives. If they've got another Genesis artifact in hand, that's going to probably kill us. Well, I've kind of survived some of their worst possible assault, thanks to the king, so... I think we might have wasted one of that Aquiosphere. No, we've got another one that's spell boosted 5, so that's fine. So they don't have... They also are trying to dig for something that actually deals with me. So all we really... It's like they can clear our board, but they don't really have much space to do much, and we've actually got quite a few ways to... Like, that hurts. I just deal 6 damage to my face. And that's another 4, so... We really just need to top deck some damage, which I think we've already used up of. I think using that knight was a misplay. I think we should have saved it for when we could try and play these blades on it. Okay, that makes sense because they would have that effect. Again, that's not... Yeah, that's kind of useless, but yeah. We are unlikely to survive this turn, depending on what this hits. Okay. There is a small miracle that we don't die this turn. We definitely die this turn. They've definitely got... Yep, they've got... So I'm trying to think... if that was mostly just how we played it. I think we could have won that. I don't know if So yeah, definitely, I think with some refining, chess could actually be good. It might need another card that's like not in the game yet. I might need to wait until there's more cards, but I'm still not entirely sure about Card Slinger. What I'm gonna do whilst I'm talking is I'm just going to There are people winning games with runecraft decks. Are they playing chess? They are not playing chess, they are playing spell boost. Okay. So I'm just looking, like, there's a site you can go on if you want to, like, once you're... Yeah, they're playing Dirt Rune and Spell Boost. No one's playing chess right now. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. But, yeah, I think I want to tweak the deck a little bit. What time was it? It was almost 3 hours, so... Yeah, it's just, yeah, I do like it just because it makes sense. So I think going for that kind, I think the Raining Blades is a bit of a, I think that was, like, I think it's worth keeping the card in the deck just to give us a bit more reach, but I think going for that kind of, laser focus on it wasn't a great idea. So I think if I take out him, and I kind of think we need more card draw. So if we put in the other spell boost lady, because she also is Banish, which is actually pretty good against stuff like Portal. If we put in her, I still don't think we need 3 of them. I think if we take out the insights, maybe. And we go for more like, if we take out insights, put in Angel's Blessing, just because that's more, more like condensed card draw. Like, it's not as efficient unless you're going second. But it's, and then where? What's another good card draw option, especially if you're drawing cards that end up being kind of junk, is Story of a Lifetime. So 2 of those. But now, because I think we were running out of like gas too much. So if we put like more card draw back in the deck, you might have a better chance. So let's see. Again, we did also get matched against like 2 fairly strong decks, and we're playing a weird experimental deck. I guess that they might also be playing artifacts. So this is a better hand going second, so I'm going to keep all of these, I think. Possible I play this Meltina just on 3. But we'll see. Maybe I should have kept her without anything to actually spell boost her. As I raved about, they're playing something a bit different. You don't usually see Thunder God of the Tempest in artifacts. It might just be a filler card they have. Thank you for the follow, Kenny Tavares. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so they're playing puppets. Don't know how we do against puppets. There's a very none of these cards are worth playing, because we want that for when it's yeah. Yep, standard, they're just drawing cards. Yes, I am an avid Shadowverser. And I think I'm just going to play this Meltina as card draw, because we've got 2 spell boost cards in hand. And it says it doesn't matter if it's only a 1/1. So if they trade with it, it's whatever. I'm just playing this to draw 2 cards and spell boost the cards in my hand. It's basically I guess, yeah, Vermeer in puppets makes sense. It's another destruction. It's a destruction effect. But this lets us make a fairly wide board here if we play out all of these. So we do our usual this Evo to get this, and then just lots of cute noises. And then I'm gonna keep the wide board. I think that helps a bit better against puppets because it spends more of their resources to clear it rather than having just one singular strong follower. But yeah, there's a brand new set out, Kenny, and we're experimenting with one of the weirder archetypes they put in, which is this weird runecraft chess archetype. Well, that's something we do have to be a bit careful of next turn, as they are going to try and drop Orcus on us. Lampty's Genesis I actually haven't seen do much these recent sets. That's slightly annoying, that overdraw. I didn't realize we were overdrawing cards. Yeah, hard choice of what to actually play. I think I'm just going to go with efficient. Like, it's not exactly a great set of options. I didn't think about how that board space would work. Oh well. So they're going to play their but that'll still get banished by cards here, so we've got guaranteed board space. But they're going to try and play their Orcus this turn, which will lock up 2 of our board spaces, which is unfortunate. So they play their Orcus. They trade the one that's getting removed anyway, which is a bit weird to me. Maybe they didn't read the card. So yeah, this is a bit of a bind. So I think what I want to do is I want to Mari to draw a card. Evo. Then trading makes her spell boost some more cards. And that's still only 3. We really need. And trade that to make some. If I trade that, make some board space. Play this guy. Yeah, this is not exactly great, but it gets us. We are using a lot of our storm on board clear, which isn't great, but it is dealing with their problem turn, so to speak. Yeah, I don't think there was any better way of handling that. We still haven't drawn our king, so we might want to run more eliminations to guarantee an earlier king draw. Running Advent of Peace in your deck, I guess, if you're running. That's slightly annoying. That's a strange use of Evo. Yeah, armed. Welcome to the chat. Armed Dragon is sadly not looking too hot. Yeah, I'm not gonna get to that effect, so I might as well. Not looking too hot. I think a lot of the archetypes are a bit weird. Like I said, chess is definitely not a. How many magical pawns have we had enter leave play so far, actually? Magical pawns, we are on 8, so the magical pawns do have rush, which is pretty good. Really like it to have... I can do this move. Evo there. That would have been nice to have early. Yeah, it is shocking that the poster child for the expansion is just kind of like, even if you're running an armed dragon deck, Levantine Dragon just doesn't seem that great in itself. Elf. Like, it might be what, like, the armed cards themselves, like, on their own, can actually be pretty good as you combine them with, like, Forte and other stuff, but Levantine Dragon just doesn't seem like very good. But yeah, we're going to lose because we did not draw the main card of our deck, or the card that tutors for the main card of our deck. Let's play card draw, and still not draw the main card of our deck. Yeah, this doesn't do anything for us. I'm just playing out spells anyway. Did not... So, 3 Mystic Kings and an Urstaz Illumination, all in the bottom 15 cards of our deck. But, on the bright side, we are currently not dead. Just take out the biggest threat. But yeah, we have 3 kings in the deck and an Urstaz Illumination as backup, and we have drawn none of them! All in the bottom 15 of our cards of our deck. That's less than half the cards in our deck. So, more than anything, this is just a deeply unfortunate game. Because we're going to draw a king now when it's going to be at max cost, and we're going to die next turn regardless of what we do. But we can try. We don't even draw the king. Just absolute nonsense going on right here. I think we can still clear the board though. Call me crazy. But if we Story of a Lifetime, one of these rooks. Where the fuck is the king? And why do we keep overdrawing? What do we? Oh, because we're max. Like, not even all 3, all 4. I have an Urstaz Illumination in the Urstaz is in the deck as a tutor. And I've just fucked up by accidentally. You don't have any spell boost cards. Finally, a Mystic King. And a very, we are currently not dead. Somehow. Because their board is now full. And they're trading off that for some reason. Like, we might actually get Calamities ended. Just because this game is, Yeah, if you could give King Storm somehow, that would be the absolute ticket, wouldn't it? They don't get their commander because they don't have enough board space. And we still have our damage shield up. This is stupid. This is so dumb. But anyway, we don't really have better options. So, We get our bois. That makes me happy. They're at 28 HP. We can't win this. But we're making them pay for that because like that's the reason you play King. You play chess for that noise. You know, like the bois. 30 HP. Right, let's see if we're somehow alive. Because the king doesn't survive this turn, and they just Gilanaze us. I think the Ruiner of Edens are louder than the, but yeah, they have Bane and Rush. I should have done Gilanaze first. Would have been more damage. Well, I don't have a second king in hand, so I just... Bottom... The rest of the cards are in bottom 5. What is this nonsense? But I can do this. Covers an Evo point. I can banish one of these, which does very little. I should have banished the 7/7, but whatever. This is... I'm making them work for it. Yo, our luck is just impressive. We cannot draw any more cards because we'll die next turn if we do. So, hope this hits the 3/3. Actually, no. We can play a magical rook. Yeah. So that means the card on our bottom of our deck is Ursta's Elimination or Truthful Elimination, whichever one it's called. But they can just kill us this turn. They can if they're not stupid. We are just dead this turn. What? Oh, they're just using the I forgot the Calamities end just also has a you win the game clause if you have enough followers destroyed. Forgot about that. Back to the master score 0, baby! Anyway, so that was awful luck. Let's try that again. Like, actual worst possible luck. Because we have 3 copies of the card and 1 tutor for it, and we didn't draw any of them. Anyway, we're not keeping any of these cards because they're none of our core cards. And now 2 of them... That's awful. This is an awful hand. I get what I ask for. 2 Mystic Kings and Illumination at least in my opening hand, and no other pawn generation. We got an Angel's Blessing at least. I said I'm not. So they're playing Last Words, which is pretty cool. Alright, good night, Lem. Thank you for the raid. Okay, things are turning around. Things are turning around. Like, we can deal with their entire board this turn, which is good. Maybe not their entire board, because of that. Okay, we don't want to play Angel's Blessing right now because that overdraws us massively. We just want to kind of deal with as much of their board at all. Thank you, Lem! As I said, big thanks to Mama Oriolist, who graciously offers this model for poor people like me who cannot afford a full-on fancy rig. Again, we're running out of card hand space. Okay. So this is not great. And yes. The low price of 5,000 yen this model was. Yes, thank you for raiding, Lem. And see you around. I'll make sure to pop into your chat, whatever, and bully you with Medea. But yeah. I've had the two worst extreme draws for this deck so far, which is no kings and too many kings. And we're just getting rushed down by all of the nonsense. That was an annoying overdraw. Yeah, as I said, you can get really good high quality models for a as long as you don't mind them not being unique. Like, anyone can buy this model and also use it. I've obviously recolored a bit in VTube Studio, which is allowed under the... You always have to make sure whatever you want to do with the model is allowed under the licenses you buy it under, which is big and important and all that jazz. Okay. Oh, that recovers a play point and heal. I didn't realize Magical Rooks healed us. That makes a lot of difference. And recovers a play point, which allows us to play this Magical Knight as well. And right, we do have to trade it in, but we can get some damage in. So we're only gonna use... I forgot Aquiosphere is only... fuck that up. I forgot about how Aquiosphere worked. Oh well, let's just hope it hits that. It did not hit that. Fuck that up royally. Completely forgotten how my own card worked. They're probably going to run me over. But, how much is this? Spell boost 3 times, so not great, but we... We can have a pretty decent turn getting our third, we can get a third king out with Elimination Unleashed. But we're probably just going to die. The Skeleton Raider! But yeah, you can get really good models like these for fairly cheap, as long as you don't mind like other people also being able to use the same model. This is the Ceramic Body by Oriolist. So I'm gonna do one more game. Hopefully this will be the even out game where we actually get both an okay curve and not have our hand full of all our top end. So we just have no way to deal with their board. This model also does come with a slightly more expensive variant that's like 8,000 yen that has a bunch of extra features and hand tracking, but I don't have hand tracking, so it's not really worth it. So, okay. Okay, this is a lot better. You need to remember about Magical Rook's Evo effect. That does give us, because we are like, that does help us. We've got a bit of a chance here because we're playing against Forest, and Forest is weird. We have no idea what Forest does. Yeah, the only adjustments I've made to this model is I've recolored like the hair and the clothes and my eyes in a bit. In VTube Studio. And I got these Live 2T glasses assets, which don't perfectly line up face, but it's near impossible to So it is kind of like old Fairy Forest then, if they're just doing that kind of thing. The old Fairy Forest is like 1 damage pings. In this case, it's 2 damage pings. But obviously they don't get them as reliably. Anyway, you can use this card see you later, so no point. Holding on to it. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what, lots of pings and Storm. Yeah, that makes sense. Does it run, Shining Valkyrie? Is that actually good now? Or Brilliant... Shining Valkyrie and Brilliant Fairy? They've actually made that a thing. Okay. That's good, they didn't have much to do that turn, so we'll just play this Magical Rook. So that's, so far we're on 2 pawns out of 8. And we've got a decent amount of pawn generation. Slade, the Blossoming Wolf, what you playing? What's the other card you're playing with that? You discounted a fairy. Okay, so what's your plan there? And get the Felper Kitten Fanfare. Yeah. I mean, that kind of makes sense, but also, what? Okay. I don't think I want to Evo here. I think I kind of do. Well, I think... No, I don't want to Evo here. Not after I've done that turn, specifically. So we're on 6 out of 8 magical pawns, so we'll hit 8 pretty quickly, so then it's just a matter of, like, actually hitting our, we can hit... We got Rose Deer. As I said, Rose Deer is like the actual body's pretty good. Because that's 2... It's a follower and a spell. I didn't attack with the Rook, you're right, I completely forgot to do that. And it's only 1 damage, but yeah, you were absolutely right. Okay, so they're doing Whirlwind Assaults. That's what they're doing. But I love the chess piece noises. Okay, so we kind of want to make sure we get rid of the biggest thing. We're not going to be able to get rid of the entire board, unfortunately, I don't think. Maybe if we played the Rook instead. Yeah, I probably should have played the, I keep forgetting about the playpoint refund on the Rook. Still getting used to this deck, but, again, no king at the point we really need it is a big problem. Yeah, but I also played, I could have not played the cards here. Yeah. I don't think it makes that much of a difference, but it's fine. We have the rook for next turn, and our pawns are 2/1s now, which is nice. But we could really do with the king. Where is the king? Can I please top deck either the king? Eee, that hurts. I'm being hurt. They whirlwind assault and I'm being under assault. Yeah, there's that's another whirlwind assault. Yep, this is. Yeah, because the rose deer means. I was thinking like, oh, why is rose deer that useful when whirlwind assault shoots itself into your hand anyway? But I guess it means you tutor them much faster. Okay. Because you only otherwise get 1 per turn. So that hurts a lot, but we can deal with this board at least. Quite handily. Now we definitely need to evo because we're trying to heal. I'm gonna keep this ward up, and since they're running whirlwind assault, I'm actually going to counter magic. So I think that damage shield will be a lot more useful than a lot of their other stuff. Yeah, they're trying to do their nonsense, and we have still not drawn king on time. I'm starting to think I need to run a second truthful elimination. Right, what you doing, Lost Fairy? Yeah, they're not running fairies, they're running whirlwind assaults. Like, yeah, it was. They did it with they were doing it last set. Last set you could do it with Feyfolk Sage because every time you played a 1 cost or lower spell, of course, he drew a card. So you'd basically cycle through your entire deck. You're a bit late there, Mr. Magical Knight. But you need to be played. No, you don't. No, these Aquiospheres are also not great. This is. Again, we've just kind of hit this point in our deck. And it's not giving us the cards we need, so we have to play really badly to, like, not die. And I can't even push damage, I have to punch the Blast Fairy, because otherwise they've got a really easy way to take off my counter magic damage shield. And that's the main thing that's keeping me alive right now. But yeah, Carbuncle with Whirlwind was done a lot before this set, was pretty much when Carbuncle was put out, but it didn't quite stick, it wasn't quite consistent enough, but new cards might actually be helping with that. But yeah, we've lost this again because we haven't drawn... They're running Cosmos Fang, what? Oh, Cosmos Fang and Whirlwind Assault! That makes a lot of sense, actually. Well, that makes a weird... No, because you can't Whirlwind Fang... You can't Whirlwind Assault Cosmos Fang, it has to be a 1-cost follower. But, like, statistically, in our 5-cost, in our 40-card deck, okay, hilariously, we can actually kill it. We can kill the Cosmos this turn. Because we get a... Spell boost off the magical strategy. Which... Okay, we finally got Mystic King. And then we just play these two Aqueous Spheres. And we've still got our damage shield up. And they've got all three... So they've played all three carbuncles, and we've only just drawn a Mystic King. Oh yeah, they bounced it from the Cosmos Fang. Again, counter magic should save us here. Because 0 damage. Oh yeah, they still have that effect going on. Okay, so we pretty much have to play Mystic King here, because otherwise we're just dead. And yeah, we sadly can't play... What we really like to do is play Mystic King and one of these Raining Blades. I guess, anyway. Wah! Like, statistically, we should draw one of the 4 cards, so hopefully they don't have the board cleared to clear out our offers. That's the carbuncle, their bounced carbuncle. How much does their deck cost at this point? I can... See, all we need is to be alive. Like... That doesn't... I'm not afraid of that. We win this, that's gonna be hilarious. That also does very little. What are you doing? What nonsense is going on right now? Noxious Elf? Okay. And your board oh, I guess they got bouncers. Okay, so they just need removal for this one pawn. They don't have removal for the pawn! Whoa! How the fuck did we win that? How the actual hell did we win that? They even conceded before we even actually got the killing blow. This deck is hilarious. I love it. It might not be good, but it's hilarious. Love that. Yeah, I think that's half past. I think that's a good time to wind down, close down the stream a little. I'm gonna take that. I hope someone can make chess work. I hope someone who is better at deck, one of the smart people who's better at deck building, kind of make this work, because this is just a lovely... I love this deck. It's hilarious. It's just a delightful series of noises. Worst case, we wait. So yeah, might add another elimination unleashed if we consistently. Yeah, don't know why they didn't bounce the Blast Fairy for more damage, because they already committed the bounce on the Whirlwind Assault to it, and they somehow didn't have another Whirlwind Assault in hand. Very strange, very strange. I think they were maybe running out of time on their turn and panicked. That's possible. That's why I don't play forest decks like that, because you always. That's why I don't play forest or any of the old artifact decks, because I don't work well under pressure. And I don't take my turns particularly fast. Yeah, how did dare Shadowverse make chess fun? Anyway, I'm just going to hang on. A+ legendary rotation. Runecraft. He honk! He do the big doot! Honestly, a kind of annoying thing that annoys me slightly about the anime cards is you don't get flavor text, you just get fucking quotes from the anime, character quotes, which is kind of like, I don't care. Yes, I am having fun. I'm glad we managed to get a win with the silly chess deck. Good game indeed. Yeah, definitely Raining Blades is good because you got a lot of Storm and a decent amount of spell boost. So yeah, might definitely... Still don't know if I want like the extra Elimination Unleashed or if I've just had atrocious luck today. Because... it is Transformer noises, you're right. Infinite Flame Dragon is a finisher, an armed dragon. A godspeed to you. But, let's move back to the chat room so that I can close Shadowverse and we can see who I can raid. Oh, wrong hotkey. There we go. This thanks. Let me just remember to quit out of Shadowverse and let's see who's online right now. Ooh, lots of people. Let's raid. Let's raid Pastel Chum. She's playing Lobotomy Corporation. Yeah. So let's start getting that ready. There you go. Yes, thank you everyone for coming to the stream. And thank you. Visiting, thank you very much. I don't know if Medea's still here. Thank you, Medea, and I guess it was Lem who did the raids. It was kind of a knock-on double raid. Yes, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the gift subs, Caden. Thank you so much for all the follows, to all the new followers. Nice, and yes, let's go say hi and be nice to Pastel Charm. She's a lovely person, very chill streams. And yes, she's playing Lobotomy Corporation, which is a game where lots of nasty things happen, and that's about as much as I know it. Anyway, I don't know if I've got my schedule. I don't actually know if I've got my schedule updated for this week, so the schedule that's about to come up might be the last week's schedule. So, who knows, but I like doing things properly in order, so I'm gonna hop onto the end schedule screen and commence the raid.